And bearing in mind that Spurs haven't won a trophy since 2008, 9 changes at Fulham, and a lot of the Spurs supporters were unhappy that that was the case. But I'm sure he's learnt a lot about his players, and he'll learn a little bit more here as we're underway for an unbeaten Tottenham Hotspur against a Burnley side who are now only one of 2 sides in the Premier League without a point. Luton Town being the other. After Sheffield United 2, Everton 2 is how it finished at Bramall Lane for what is Burnley's 3rd straight home game in the Premier League, as they go long, headed away by Romero on the edge of the area. They pick up that loose ball. Koleosho, Amdouni almost managed to wriggle his way through.
There was an offside somewhere in there. I think Amdouni just strayed offside. I'm really, I've got to say, really looking forward to this one. Both managers, I think, have similar philosophies. They like to dominate the ball, dominate the game. And I think we're going to see plenty of chances. Burnley, tricky start, I think it's fair to say. And I suppose if you're Vincent Kompany, you want a performance, but you're more concerned about the points.
Well, they did have an opportunity after their game at Luton was postponed at Kenilworth Road to switch it here, and Burnley said no, and you can understand why, because after the start that they've been handed, playing home games against Manchester City and Aston Villa and now Tottenham, they're going to need to try and keep some of those home games for later on in the season. The last time it happened, incidentally, in the Premier League for teams who've played 3 straight home games to open up a campaign was in 97-98, and it was with 3 sides all in the same season: Everton, Wimbledon and Newcastle United. As Tottenham Hotspur are playing out from the back, high press from Burnley. The ball is back with Vicario, who eventually clears away, all in yellow, away towards our right hand side, and then it comes back. Koleosho picks it up on that left hand side, plays it behind him towards Roberts. He keeps the ball in play, and now they work it towards Bayer. So they've settled in quite quickly, have the home side, and are seeing a lot of the ball.
We saw that long ball from Vicario up towards Son as a central striker, but that's not really Son's game, is it, to back in and hold the ball up? That's more what Richarlison can do.
Now Spurs win the ball, and Sarr feeds it early towards Kulusevski. He's running into the sunshine on that far side, pulls it back, steadies himself. Solomon just rode up a little bit, and he then found himself side on to goal on the edge of the area, passes the ball back to Basuma. Porro joins the attack far side the right. Kulusevski now back with Basuma. Burnley have everybody back behind the ball. Good noise inside Turf Moor on this sunny afternoon in Lancashire. As the ball runs out of play, it'll be a Burnley throw.
I cannot believe that situation. Kulusevski, has a bit of space opened up down that Burnley left-hand side, Tottenham right. He pulls the ball back to Solomon, who's 18 yards out. Took a poor first touch, but then rather than try and work an angle and get a shot off, he actually ran back towards his own goal and popped off an easy pass. I mean, nothing like taking your fullback on, trying to get a shot off early on in the game. Really disappointing, that from Solomon.
I wouldn't expect a former Blackburn Rovers striker to be invited to the hospitality here at Turf Moor. But regular listeners to 5 Live will know that Tony Livesey, who presents Drive every afternoon with Claire McDonald, is down below, is being wined and dined. Burnley's 9th most famous fan, ahead of the rapper Snoop Dogg. That was a bad decision by me on Fact of the Day yesterday. As part of the prawn sandwich brigade now is Tony Livesey. Who would have thought it? 0-0. We're in the 4th minute. Roberts, left-hand side. Koleosho goes ahead of him, gets goal side as well. Good run by Koleosho, pulls it back, and Burnley take the lead through Lyle Foster. It's the first time under Hans Postecoglou in the Premier League that Spurs concede first. It was a swift, decisive break and finished off well by Burnley.
Well, what a run this is, what pace from Koleosho. It's on the left-hand side. I always feel that the way Spurs set up, they can be exposed in those wider areas. It's actually really well worked from the back into midfield. The ball goes out left, and Connor Roberts just feeds a ball to Koleosho, who gets a run. I think it's on Pedro Porro, but then that little burst of pace and feeds the ball to Lyle Foster, who's level with the near post, 6 yards out. He sweeps the ball in, left-footed. What a start for Burnley.
He scored against Villa, and the South African international has now given Burnley the lead. Now they have been behind before, but that was when it was 2-1 to Brentford on the opening weekend. That's the first time under Postecoglou that they've conceded first. So let's see what this Spurs resilience is like now here at a raucous Turf Moor, with Burnley leading by a goal to nil. The goal timed officially at 4 minutes by Lyle Foster, but it was an excellent break by Burnley. Let's get an update from Chelsea. Stamford Bridge, John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Forest 0. Chelsea on the front foot. Chilwell on the left hand side, played it into Sterling at the near post, but Aina did really well just to get ahead of him and put it behind for the corner. Chelsea 0, Forest 0.
BBC Radio 5 Live. We're live also on BBC Sounds. Burnley leading by a goal to nil. We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service wherever you are in the world. Always a pleasure to have your company. Here we are at Turf Moor, where the home side are leading 1-0. That was Roberts just getting in a bit of a tangle with Romero. So 1-0 to Burnley, who are playing from left to right as we look in their claret and sky blue shirts and sky blue shorts against Tottenham in their charcoal grey away outfit, and O'Shea heads it back. So let's see what Ange Ball is like coming from behind, Chris Sutton, mate.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to change the way that they play. They'll try and play out from the back. They will take risks. He wants his two midfielders to be, two central midfielders to be really brave on the ball, Sarr and Basuma, but they've barely had a kick, and that's a testament to Burnley and the way they've started the game. Just looking at Burnley's setup, we thought they'd be fluid. They're more of a 3-4-3, aren't they, when they're in possession?
Former Premier League title winner Chris Sutton with us here at Turf Moor as we sit at the back of this stand opposite the Bob Lord stand where the director's box is. And we've got the Jimmy McElroy two-tiered stand away towards our left and the cricket field end away towards our right. Half of that stand on the left-hand side, predominantly white with the travelling Spurs support. Son with a cross, hit it over first time from the right. Udogie, the left back, left corner of the penalty area, shifts it on the outside of Goodmanson, plays it in low, comes to Solomon now. Solomon hits it away, first time right-footed, blocked, and Goodmanson will clear, but only as far as Toro on that far side right for Tottenham, who are looking to try and get back into the game. But Burnley's excellent start rewarded with an early goal.
I just wondered, there's a poor clearance, I think, from O'Shea, the Burnley centre-half to Solomon, whether Solomon could have taken that first time. Elected to take a touch and the shot was blocked.
Here is Madison wriggling free, right hand side of the penalty area, and then he goes to ground far too easily. Blackpool are leading Wigan by a goal to nil in League One, and an early goal at Brentford. Chris Cole.
Brentford are leading Bournemouth by 1 goal to nil. A goal in bizarre circumstances. Matthias Jensen's free kick was parried out, or so we thought, by Neto. Play went on for a good 15 seconds until referee Bobby Madley pointed to his watch. It just about crept over the line. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 0.
Bournemouth, who are yet to win under their new manager, Andoni Iraola. Burnley, who've lost 3-0 at home to Manchester City and were beaten 3-1 against Aston Villa here at Turf Moor, looking to avoid 3 consecutive defeats to open up their top flight campaign for what would be just the 4th time in their history. In League 2, Notts County 1, Accrington 0, latest score at Meadow Lane, but they are leading Vincent Kompany's side. Champions, as you'd expect. They had the best home record in the Championship last season, 3 points better off than Sheffield United, who earlier drew 2-2 against Everton at Bramall Lane. Northampton 0, Wycombe 1 is the latest score in League One as Trafford gets the ball out. Good distribution under pressure away towards our left, and then Basuma tries to win it back, and he puts a little bit of pressure there on Amdouni, and it will go out of play for a Burnley throw. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, I've got to say, first game of the season against Manchester City, James Trafford, I thought he was so good with the ball at his feet, really comfortable, and under pressure there just popped a pass out to the left, unflustered. That's what Vincent Kompany demands.
The leaders of League 2, MK Dons, are ahead at Gresty Road. Crewe 0, MK Dons 1. We'll bring you news of that goal when we can. Burnley, Bayer, almost gave the ball away. Berger, though, helps it back towards his goalkeeper. Trafford lets it come across his body, hits it right-footed. Foster, the goal scorer, downward header for Cullen to come on to this. Then he gives the ball away under pressure to Van de Ven. Van de Ven stepping forward, though, was Al Dakil, the right back. Goodmanson ahead of him. Foster makes the run. Van de Ven has gone with him. Tries to go on the outside of Van de Ven. Now on the inside, back on the outside towards the byline, and then just couldn't keep the ball in play. That was a good tussle between the pair.
It was, and there was just for a second where I thought Foster was away from Van de Ven, but Van de Ven, to his credit, got back and made the challenge, and eventually the ball went behind for a Tottenham goal kick. But they do have pace in that forward area, don't they, Burnley?
Certainly seen a little bit of Van de Ven already in these early stages live, and Van de Ven certainly isn't short in with that quality. Koleosho picks it up, darts forward, challenge comes in from Basuma, wins the ball well with that sliding challenge, and now finds the Son. He just drifted out towards the right. Kulusevski was making the run on the inside of the South Korean international. Newport County 0, Wimbledon 1 is the latest score in League 2. There's a nice pace about the game, isn't there? As it's headed forward to Foster. Foster, Udogi, fair challenge, wins the ball in that left back area and now finds Basuma. Forward ball to Madison, nice turn by Madison on the halfway line. Back out to this near side the left. There's a real flow to the game in these opening 11 minutes where Burnley lead by a goal to 0. Udogi, Van de Ven, left of the centre circle. Romero, right side of the centre circle, now in the Burnley half. Forward ball, Son feeds it. This now is with Porro, inside right channel of the penalty area, but Roberts playing as a left back, comes back, sees off the danger, marshals the ball behind, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. As promised, let's go to Crewe. News of that goal, Nestor McGregor.
Yeah, the away side, MK Dons top of the league with the early goal, 1-0. The ball fell to Jonathan Lecco just on the corner of the 6-yard box. The keeper, Harvey Davies, look unsighted. Low shot, nice and hard, and it found the corner of the net. MK Dons top of the league, and they have an early lead in this one.
Let's go to Will Perry, Manchester City, Fulham.
Still Manchester City 0, Fulham 0. City, as you'd expect, have had the ball for pretty much the first 10 minutes here at the Etihad, but no chances to tell you about. A couple of nice touches from Doku on his City debut. He is electrically quick. Man City 0, Fulham 0.
Brentford 1, Bournemouth 0 is the latest score. No goals at Stamford Bridge. We've already checked in once already with John Southall. It finished 2-2 at Bramall Lane. The early results in the Championship: Birmingham 1, Millwall 1. Birmingham have certainly enjoyed a fine start to the season under John Eustace. Sunderland ending Southampton's unbeaten start with a cracking win at the Stadium of Light for Tony Mowbray's side. 5-0 winners, and Swansea City 1, Bristol City 2 was the other results. And in League 2, Tranmere Rovers 0, Wrexham 1 was the full-time score at Prenton Park. 13 minutes played here at Turf Moor, and Bayer back to Trafford. Trafford had to react very quickly from that short back pass. Just controlled the ball with his right foot and cleared it, but he was a little bit under pressure. Out it goes for a throw. We'll go to the Championship, get the latest now from the leaders, Leicester. Pat Murphy.
Leicester 0, Hull 0. 2 Hull defenders booked in the first 6 minutes, Jones and Coyle, which tells you about the pressure that Leicester are exerting, exemplified by a fine move that ended with Ricardo just over the bar, 20 yards. Leicester 0, Hull 0.
Gillingham had been going well last week, then they had a surprise defeat to Colchester. Solomon robs his marker El Dakil of the ball.
Got to pull
shot
that
right-footed.
back. Solomon's got to pull that back. Great opportunity for Tottenham on the left-hand side. El Dakil just dwelled on the ball, took too long. Solomon took it off him, drove towards the byline, and Son is standing 8 yards out, centre of the goal. Just wants the ball popped to him. Solomon was greedy, took the shot on, it was blocked. That decision making key in the final third, and Spurs get it wrong.
Before that wasted opportunity, I was about to tell you that Gillingham, after that surprise defeat to Colchester last week, are behind at Blundell Park. Grimsby 1, Gillingham 0 is the latest score in League 2. 14 minutes played. It's been a decent watch so far, where Burnley lead by a goal to 0. Berger to Roberts, the left back for Burnley. Now with O'Shea, opens it up to Goodmanson on this near side, over the halfway line, the right. His diagonal ball to Koleosho, back heeled away by Porro, picked up by Amdouni, turns with his back to goal. Berger then gives it back to the Swiss international. They continue to exchange passes, and the tall, lean player, former Sheffield United midfielder Berger, back with Trafford, but he's midway through his own half, This is Burnley really settling into a rhythm, keeping the ball very, very well. It really is easy on the eye. And now Amdouni can come running forward with the ball. He's midway through the Tottenham half. He finds Goodmanson, right corner of the penalty area. Goodmanson goes on the outside of Udogie, who stands into the challenge, and behind it goes for a corner kick.
Yeah, they started really brightly, Burnley have, and Trafford once again slide rule pass out left. Amdouni's just playing sort of in a withdrawn role behind Koleosho and the goal scorer Foster, and he's causing problems picking the ball up and running at that Tottenham back line. Opportunity for Burnley from the corner.
He's a fine prospect, James Trafford. Part of the under-21s Euro success in the summer for England. Corner kick, Goodmanson to take it in towards the near post. Look for the run of Foster. Behind it goes for a goal kick. And not surprisingly, he was a £19 million signing, was James Trafford. But not surprisingly that Manchester City have inserted the option of a buyback clause in that deal.
I thought it was 15.
Long ball forward. Son brings it out nicely towards Solomon. Back towards Son. Son steadies himself. Lovely finish. Chips it over Trafford. It's the 8th different goal scorer for Tottenham. And Son, the captain, is up and running for his campaign. And what a way to equalise. A delicate chip. 1-1. Beautifully taken.
It was beautifully taken. Really composed finish. But Burnley, from their set piece, their corner, left themselves 2-on-2 at the back. I was actually surprised Son popped the ball out to Solomon on that left-hand side, and then Solomon actually was very composed, played it back to Son, and Son lifted the ball over Trafford brilliantly as Trafford went out to try and block the angle, narrow the angle, just dinks it over him. Wonderful finish from Son. 1-1. I said we'd get goals.
You certainly did. Stockport 1, Crawley 0 as the latest score in League 2, and there's been a goal elsewhere. It's at Leicester City. Pat Murphy.
To Hull, and what a splendid goal from Liam Delap. Fragmented play 25 yards out. He got hold of it, Delap. Favours the left foot. Left foot more or less passed it into the net low from about 20 yards, just inside the right hand post. A really fine goal made and finished by Liam Delap. Leicester 0, Hull 1.
So Leicester, who'd won all 6 games this season, as there's an ambitious effort from inside his own half by Madison, but a backpedaling Trafford easily deals with that. All in pink away towards our left-hand side. We're level now, 1-1 here at Turf Moor. We'll go to Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Forest 0. Chelsea are pressing. Conor Gallagher on the edge of the area on his left foot, curled it wide of the left-hand post. Also had a lengthy delay. The referee, Tim Robinson, comms pack malfunctioned. He's now got a fresh set strapped onto his arm, and we're back underway. Chelsea 0, Forest 0.
Van der Ven with the clearance. Brentford lead Bournemouth 1-0. Still no goals at the Etihad between Manchester City and Fulham. BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, and also available on BBC Sounds. 18 minutes played in the heat of Burnley. It's almost tropical, one might say.
How often have you been here? And how often have you said that?
I don't think I've ever said it's almost tropical in Burnley. Normally I'm sat on this back row shivering, but I've got to say I'm making the most of the heat here. 1-1, and we've got a nice game to watch to boot too. BBC Radio 5 Live. Udogie with the interception, preventing it from reaching Goodmanson. So we will go to Portman Road and Flo Pollock.
Still Ipswich 0, Cardiff 0. Disallowed goal for Cardiff, though it came from a corner. Good save from the keeper. Carlin Grant poked it in. He was offside. Ipswich 0, Cardiff 0 still.
Goodmanson, right hand side, level with the penalty area, sends over a left footed cross, free header for Koleosho, and he couldn't direct it, and off that little bushy head of his it runs wide for a goal kick to Tottenham. Chris Sutton.
Awful defending from Tottenham. They tried to play out initially. Basuma, he gets caught, but that's a feature of Tottenham's play. Postecoglou demands they'll try and play out, and Goodmanson, left footed cross from the right hand side. Koleosho didn't time his header properly, and it went well wide of Vicario's goal.
Udogie, central area, the left back, collects the ball along the ground from his goalkeeper, runs forward. He's now forward of the centre circle in the Burnley half. He finds Solomon and Madison out to the left, the two combined. Madison, though, can't keep the ball in play. Will go to Manchester City against Fulham. Will Perry.
Still City 0, Fulham 0, but Kearney off, injured for Fulham. He was in for Polinia, remember, whose deadline day move to Bayern collapsed yesterday. 18-year-old Luke Harris on for the visitors. City 0, Fulham 0.
And to Brentford, Chris Coles.
Brentford 1, Bournemouth 0, but a big chance squandered for Bournemouth to equalise. Ryan Christie tiptoeing his way into the penalty area, and he ran into Dominic Solanke just as he was about to finish. Still Brentford 1, Bournemouth 0.
Next week, of course, the Rugby Union World Cup. It starts on Friday. Every match live on BBC Radio 5 Live, Sports Extra, BBC Sounds, all the BBC Sport app, and from Monday there will be a daily Rugby Union podcast that you'll get all the access. As a shot is fired in from Amdouni from distance. 20 minutes played, right footed, central position just outside the D. Vicario at full stretch will say he had it covered. Goal kick, 1-1.
I'm not so sure he does. Really well worked across the midfield from Burnley again, and Sander Berger just steps in behind Sarr, who should do much better. And Amdouni, I say, is playing in that withdrawn role. Gets on the half turn. He's 25 yards out, and he flashes a right foot shot. He's not far away.
Jason Pearce, who's the interim manager after Dean Holden lost his job at Charlton, and Charlton, who've lost their last 5, have fallen behind at home at the Valley in League One. Charlton Athletic 0, Fleetwood 1 is a latest score, as it's 1-1 here, and Tottenham Hotspur coming from behind with that equaliser from Son, the captain. All 8 goals have been scored by different players under Ange Postecoglou, where there has been a noticeable impact from Ange ball. It's taken effect, increased shots, increased passes, increased possession, applying greater pressure to the opponent's back line. And that back line now finds O'Shea.
What's he doing?
What was he doing? Conceding a corner. He did a step over and the ball runs out of play for a corner.
Well, he should have cleared the ball near his byline, left-footed, let it run behind him, and it just run out of play. Talk about poor judgment, Ian.
Well, corner kick. Vincent Kompany will not be happy if Spurs can score from this corner on this near side. 1-1. Front of the 2-tiered Jimmy McIlroy stand. It will be Madison to take it on this near side, the Spurs left, playing from right to left as we look. Burnley have got everybody back. Madison rolls it short. Solomon back towards Madison, left hand side of the area, stands over the cross. Son leaves it, gets a little touch actually to Kulusevski, edge of the area, breaks down, and Foster clears. We'll go to Stoke in the Championship. Charlie Slater.
20 minutes on the clock. Stoke 0, Preston 0. Stoke started well, but Preston have started to come into the game. Made a really good save a few moments ago, did Mark Travers, from a deflected Alan Brown shot from range, but still goalless.
Portsmouth, who are unbeaten in League One, have fallen behind at Fratton Park. Portsmouth 0, Peterborough United 1. You're up to date with the goals as they go in. High ball up towards Kulusevski, headed away by Jordan Beyer, who's going to just struck the woodwork at Brentford. Chris Coles.
Brentford have so close to doubling their advantage. Ball over the top. Kevin Schade, who's had an excellent start to the season. Right foot shot, hit the inside of the post. Corner comes in and is cleared by Bournemouth. It's all Brentford. They lead 1-0.
Sonny Rudra Vajala has news of a goal at Rotherham.
Rotherham have taken the lead. It's Rotherham 1, Norwich 0, and it is an absolute stunner from fullback Dexter Lembikisa from a corner, bouncing ball edge of the area. He's hammered it into the top right hand corner. It's Rotherham 1, Norwich 0.
Midway through the first half, 1-1 at Turf Moor. Burnley on the attack. Goodmanson near side the right, running forward. Now to Amdouni, gets it onto his left foot, looks for that shooting opportunity, finds Foster, wouldn't run with Foster, keeps it alive though. This is Koleosho, enters the penalty area, lively little winger, still gets the shot away, falls to Foster, flag stays down, excellent save by the legs of Vicario, comes out to Goodmanson, clips over the cross, over the head of Amdouni. Now the flag is raised.
Yeah, I did think Foster was in an offside position, but I think the assistants have been told to keep the flag down in that situation, but Foster should have buried it. Got to say, good save from Vicario with his big right boot, but Foster a couple of yards offside, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. Got to say though, Burnley do look a real threat, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
In those forward areas, but they look vulnerable at the back, I think.
This is the first of 4 Premier League commentaries over the weekend. We've also got the Old Firm clash for you live tomorrow, so there's an earlier start than normal. 11:30 we'll be on air tomorrow ahead of that midday contest at Ibrox, Rangers against Celtic, then Liverpool Aston Villa at 2, followed by Arsenal against Manchester United at 4:30. After Sports Report with the results and the reaction with Mark Chapman, we'll be at the Amex for Brighton and Hove Albion against Newcastle United. That's a 5:30 kick-off with John Murray and James Collins as the ball is put out of play, and there's going to be a stoppage here as the referee Darren England,
I think it's Madison who's
just checking on Madison. No, Kulusevski. Harrogate 0, Barrow 1 is the latest score in League Two. Harrogate, who were humped by Blackburn, they conceded 8 on Wednesday night, and they've fallen behind to Barrow. So not going too well at the moment for Harrogate Town. There's a stoppage in play here, a lot of liquid refreshment being taken on board. It means we've got an opportunity to go to Stamford Bridge and John Southall.
Well, we've played 25 minutes, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 0. Chance though for Chelsea, good move. Jackson through the middle, played it out wide to Sterling on the right. He whipped the ball across the 6-yard box for Chilwell, just needed a touch, couldn't finish it off. Chelsea 0, Forest 0.
England's women are 65-7 against Sri Lanka in the second T20. Commentary of that contest at Chelmsford is available on Sports Extra, and from 6 on Sports Extra there will be US Open tennis coverage for you after that has been finished, as concluded. Goals elsewhere: Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 1, Morecambe 1, Salford 0, and you're up to date. Play back underway here at Turf Moor, 1-1 between Burnley and Tottenham. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, just wondering about the way you described the Harrogate defeat as humped. I mean,
it was a little bit of alliteration.
Yeah,
that was the aim.
Not so sure you got that.
Well, I did. There's Madison threads the ball through to Kulusevski. Kulusevski in the penalty area, never really in full control of the ball. And Berger is back, but Kulusevski wins it back. And Kulusevski dead to the area. Madison back to Kulusevski. Kulusevski prods it towards Son, won't reach him, and it's cleared by Cullen.
Yeah, but Madison half turn. Is there a more dangerous player in the Premier League than James Madison? And he gets on that half turn and can slide a pass. Couple of really good incisive passes. Kulusevski was fouled there, surely, right in front of Roberts. Kulusevski making the runs, but no real end product from Kulusevski on that Tottenham right-hand side.
Would you have preferred hammered?
Hammered's a nicer word, isn't it? Although it's not a nice word if you're a Harrogate fan, but humped. You're better than that, aren't you?
Humiliated?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know who uses humped.
Well, you just answered that yourself, haven't you? Free kick. Chris, after this, double bubble today. He's on 6:06. He'll be taking your calls with Robbie Savage after commentary of Brighton against Newcastle United. 08085909693. Feel free to hammer Chris Sutton.
That's fine. Just see Sarr there getting cautioned. Does he throw the ball? Yeah, he throws the ball away. Silly booking for Sarr there. Put himself under pressure. Darren England, the referee, quite right to caution him.
I wonder if that will hinder Tottenham. We'll wait and see. He'll have to keep his discipline now, Pape Sarr in the midfield. Plymouth are leading Blackburn Rovers by 1-0. Madison lets it run through. Not necessarily sure if that was intentional or not, but Solomon has now picked it up back towards Madison, midway through the Burnley half. So Plymouth 1, Blackburn 0 is the latest score in the Championship. Chris Sutton's former side are behind. Kulusevski comes in off that right touchline. Basuma to Madison, quickly closed down, passes the ball back to Van der Ven, forward of the centre circle. And now it's with Romero. And this is Basuma, forward ball. Kulusevski running back. Burnley have everybody back behind the ball, bar Lyle Foster, who gave them a 4th-minute lead as we approach the half hour. Van der Ven has hit that too hard past Solomon. There's no way Solomon's going to hit that. He says that to him, and it goes out of play for a Burnley throw.
Yeah, what worries me a little bit about Burnley, they're trying to condense the game and they're really squeezing up from the back, but they're leaving space in behind. And that's all.
Poor clearance by Trafford. And Spurs will get the ball back. Here is Madison. Sarr gets in his way. Madison gets him out of the way, just outside the D. Solomon inside left channel to the penalty area. 1-1-5 live. He now finds Son. Son looks for that shooting opportunity. Pulls it back. Sarr tries to place it. Ricochet falls to Madison. Takes a deflection. Spins goalwards. And is gathered in by James Trafford, who apologises.
Yeah. And I was talking James Trafford up, wasn't I? the ball at his feet, but got that one wrong. And Spurs miss a couple of real opportunities there. Madison claiming after he got his shot off at last that was maybe a handball from a Burnley defender. I didn't see it that way. But Spurs a little bit wasteful in that final third.
Half an hour played. Burnley have given the ball away again. Sloppy out of defence. Madison to Kulusevski. Tries to get away from Bayer on that far side. Bayer recovers, gets some sort of a challenge in, and Roberts as a left back for Burnley will clear the ball away. It remains 1-1. To Brentford we go. Chris Coles.
Signs of life from Bournemouth, still trailing Brentford by 1-0, but Ryan Christie has just come close, finding space on the edge of the area. Left foot shot about a yard wide of the post. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 0.
Grimsby have increased their lead in League 2 at home to Gillingham. It's 2-0, and also in that division Accrington have equalised. Notts County 1, Accrington 1. That's fourth against third. Both teams have enjoyed decent starts to the season. In the Premier League, we now go to John Southall at Stamford Bridge.
Chelsea 0, Forest 0, but great chance for Forest. Best of the game, 6 yards out on one. You just slashed at it and smashed it over the bar. Chelsea 0, Forest 0.
BBC Radio 5 Live, half an hour played. It remains 1-1 here. Burnley with Bayer now towards O'Shea. Al-Dakhil. It looks at that instance there, they've gone to 3 at the back, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a goal at Man City. Hold on, come back to that. Will.
Yes, Manchester City 1, Fulham 0. It's a lovely worked goal. It's the first shot on target for either side. It comes from Kovacic to Haaland. Haaland's cross to Julian Alvarez, who just tucks it past Bernd Leno. City 1, Fulham 0.
Only side, of course, in the Premier League with a 100% winning start. There's been another goal at Brentford, Chris.
And it had been coming for Bournemouth. They've equalised. Dominic Solanke, ball over the top. He got the wrong side of Ben Mee. Coolly finished past Mark Flecken. It's Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1.
So, Chris, sorry, you were going to make that point, were you, about the fluidity of the system for Burnley?
Yeah, I made it earlier, actually. Obviously, you weren't listening.
Here is Solomon getting around the back of Al-Dakhil, sends over the cross. Kulusevski can't get their right-hand side. And now it's with Porro for Spurs, level with the penalty area, playing from right to left. 13 minutes to go to half-time. Madison, central area, probing. Passes the ball out to Kulusevski, level with the box. Son makes the run. He finds him, Son round the back. But the Bayer had gone with him, stride for stride. Out of play, it goes for a throw. Goal at Portman Road now in the Championship. Flo Pollock.
Goal for Cardiff, Ipswich 0, Cardiff 1, and it's Aaron Ramsey. His second goal since joining his boyhood club over the summer. Slick moved, he just passed it into the back of the net. Ipswich 0, Cardiff 1.
I'm always listening, but as you may have gathered, on a Saturday afternoon it can be quite frenetic at times.
Yeah, I'll give you that. No, defensively at times, Burnley, when Tottenham have the ball, we see Connor Roberts dropping back into that left back role, and they're more of a back four. But when they're in possession, there's no doubt they're a back three, and Goodmanson operating as a right wing back, and Connor Roberts as a left wing back. You see Spurs now, the longer this half has gone on, they're getting real control of this game. Just think that final ball, Solomon's been a big disappointment, had some good opportunities, good crossing opportunities, good shooting opportunities, not really come off yet.
Son lays it off to Basuma. Were you listening when Chris Coles gave us news of that Bournemouth equaliser? Here is Kulusevski to Madison, because he said he got on the wrong side of me. Don't you make that same mistake. Another goal at Man City, Will Perry.
And Fulham are level just after Julian Alvarez gave City the lead. It comes from a Fulham corner. It's a save from Edison, from Raul Jimenez, and then there is Tim Ream, the Fulham centre-back, back in the team today to scramble past the Brazilian goalkeeper and level for the visitors. City 1, Fulham 1.
Back in the side after suspension. Al-Dakhil on the stretch, concedes a corner. And Spurs are enjoying this spell of possession. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, they are. Burnley started the game really well, but now it's Spurs in the ascendancy. Udogie making a marauding run, an underlap for Solomon, but Dakhil popping the ball behind for a corner.
Corner kick near side the left. 1-1-5 live in the World Service. Madison to take it, right-footed. In it goes now. O'Shea heads it away. It's a good header. Gets plenty of distance on that. Basuma 30 yards out. Central position. Back then to Porro, forward there, just outside the centre circle. Spreads it. Madison waits on this near left touchline for him to come to him. Now passes the ball in. The return to Madison. Hits it first time. Good save at full stretch by Trafford. Parries the ball out towards Kulusevski. The threat remains. Pulls it back. Porro drives it in. And that strikes Sarr, but the flag was up and he knew he was in an offside position. But a good attack from Tottenham.
Well, was Porro's shot creeping in? Porro's hammered the ball. He's 20 yards out right-hand side of the box. And Sarr standing in front of James Trafford. The ball hit him anyway, but brilliant from James Madison out on this left-hand side. Pops the ball into Sarr. The left-hand touchline follows it. And it's a smart save. Madison curling the ball towards that far corner just inside the post, but really brilliant save from Trafford.
Basuma. Foul by Mduni. Referee Darren England will give that free kick. Let's get an update from Ellen Road. Betty Glover.
Leeds 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Leeds on top here, very calm, very confident on the ball. Couple of chances. Pirro going close, firing one wide before Ampadu fed Somerville a brilliant ball, who combined with Roach on the edge of the box to beat the defenders and fired a shot over the bar. It's Leeds 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
1-1. It was good defending by Romero. They like that ball in over the top towards the flanks, in behind the fullbacks, don't they, Burnley?
They do, and of course, you know, we speak about Ange Postecoglou's style and Tottenham's style, where they have the inverted fullbacks and there's spaces in those channels. You've got to say, Burnley, Koleosho and Foster have great pace to maybe exploit Tottenham in those areas.
Bit of a surprise at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion, who've won both of their home games, have fallen behind against a Huddersfield Town side who are yet to win. In the Championship, West Bromwich Albion 0, Huddersfield 1. Van der Ven accelerates forward for Tottenham. Solomon gets away from El Dakil, the right back, and now he runs forward. Does Solomon for Tottenham. Sarr bypasses Sarr, reaches Porro with his shot, and he's dragged it wide. And it will go out of play for a goal kick. 1-1. So we will go into the Championship. Stoke City, Preston. Charlie Slater.
Goalless, but I don't know how. 10 minutes to go until half-time. Andrew Hughes with a brilliant run into the penalty area, cuts it to the edge of the 6-yard box. Chance after chance for Will Keane, but Mark Travers, the Stoke keeper, keeps him out 0-0.
The Old Firm tomorrow is live on BBC Radio 5 Live. The build-up from 11:30. St Mirren avoid defeat. They go to the top of the Scottish Premiership. Gavin Wallace.
Still 0-0. Livingston 0, St Mirren 0 here. Best chance on 7 for St Mirren. McMenamin with the ball in. Bacchus for the header wide. And just a few minutes ago, Newbley at the edge of the box, but it was well blocked. Still 0-0 here in Livingston.
1-1 here at Turf Moor. 8 minutes to go to half-time. Oh, that was a poor ball. He really has hooked that. Has Amin Al Dakil, Belgian defender, out for a Tottenham throw far side.
Well, we've all done it. We've all shanked a football or a golf ball, haven't we?
Certainly have the golf ball. Coventry 0, Watford 1 is the latest score. Watford without a win or indeed a goal in their last 3 games against a Coventry City side, unbeaten in 3, but at the Ricoh it's Coventry 0, Watford 1, Bolton 0, Derby 1 is a latest score. So Bolton having a little bit of an early season blip without a win in 3. Despite being third, have fallen behind there. And in the Scottish Premiership at McDermott Park, it's St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1 is a latest score from Perth. To West London we go. John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Forest 0, chance apiece for Forest. Awonyi at the far post, held off Silva, volleyed into the ground and wide. At the other end, Fernandez, edge of the area, over the bar. Chelsea 0, Forest 0.
Burnley still looking to play out from the back. Berger was under pressure. He had Sarr right up, breathing behind him down his neck, but he still managed to lay the ball off. Foster collects it now for Burnley midway through his own half. Al Dakil passes the ball back to Trafford, and Trafford just strokes the ball now into his own penalty area for Jordan Bayer, who they signed for £13 million from Borussia Mönchengladbach after a loan spell last season. So they have been busy with 15 players, but a combination of some familiar faces and some new faces for what has been an extremely busy transfer window for the Premier League new boys, as Goodmanson, one of the old guard, loses out in possession. Udogi, Basuma outside the centre circle. Solomon on this near side the left at a walking pace, passes the ball back to Van der Ven. Now Madison comes short to collect it just outside the centre circle. Sarr on that far side. Porro's pushed on quite high there. We sense by the crowd reaction that they're realising that Tottenham are in control.
Yeah, I think they are now. I mean, they've had to earn it in this first half. You see that Vicario long ball again, Burnley's high line. Kulusevski making that run off the right hand side. But Burnley are playing with a high line, and I'm sure Ange Postecoglou will be really sending the message to the Tottenham players, get on the half turn, they're leaving space in behind.
At Edgeley Park, it's Stockport County 2, Crawley 0. That's the latest score in League 2. 5 minutes to go to half-time here in the sunshine at Turf Moor as Trafford, in a bright pink goalkeeping outfit away towards our left, chips the ball out towards that far side. Burnley gave it away, but Spurs unable to hang on to it, and now Roberts on that far side, the left, can run forward for Burnley. Koleosho onside, collects the ball, darts in field, challenge then from Romero. He rides that, does well to keep the ball. Referee has played an advantage. Darren England letting the game flow. Here now is Berger, just slows it down. Cullen, always tidy in the midfield. Koleosho, lively. Was that a foul from behind? Yes, it was. Kulusevski gives away a free kick to Burnley, and in fact Kulusevski has shown a yellow card for that. That's the second Spurs player to be booked.
Yeah, needless from Kulusevski. I say, Koleosho shown some great little bursts. Say needless challenge. I think slightly harsh from Kulusevski to see yellow for that, but just about within shooting range, would you say? I wouldn't shoot from there, would you? 32 yards?
I knew you were going to try and be
what do you think?
Pedantic or particular or precise with the placement of this free kick, but it's certainly over 30 yards, shade over 30 yards out from goal. It's left of centre. You've got Cullen and you've got Goodmanson. Quite a high line from the Spurs back line to protect Vicario. Koleosho makes a run off the ball, that's not spotted. Goodmanson now clips it in the free kick. Free header that O'Shea knocked back towards the edge of the 6-yard area, and Spurs were able to clear. If somebody reads that, then you're thinking that Burnley could have had half an opportunity. There's been another goal at Rotherham. Sane Rugravajula.
And Rotherham United have taken a second goal here. It's Rotherham 2, Norwich 0. 5 minutes till half-time. It's a cross on the right-hand side, and it's ex-Norwich man Jordan Hugill with a diving header to make it Rotherham 2, Norwich 0.
Yet to win in the Championship this season. Norwich unbeaten. They've won 5 of 6. Oh, that was late. Foster on Van der Ven. Referee Darren England's had a good look at that. I don't think he's going to take any action against the South African international. It'll be a free kick to Tottenham as the Canary Chris Sutton is quiet and content.
Yeah, I'm surprised Norwich are 2 down to Rotherham. Dear me, what's going on there? Maybe a surprise that Foster didn't see a yellow card for that challenge.
Play back underway. Under 3 minutes to go to half time. Coventry City have equalised at home to Watford. Coventry 1, Watford 1 in the Championship. Risky ball towards Vicario from Romero. Foster was closing him down. Vicario reacted well, cleared it long, laid off by Solomon. Madison gives the ball away. It might come back to Madison. Goodmanson goes in for the challenge, and this will be a yellow card for the Burnley midfielder for catching Madison. First Burnley player to be booked.
And I'm not saying Madison's got himself to blame, but he hasn't given the ball away very much in the first half. Really careless pass trying to find Solomon, hits Goodmanson, and then as the ball gets away from Goodmanson, Madison tries to make up for his error, and Goodmanson going for the ball, clatters into him.
He was a fraction late. Madison's back on his feet. Free kick has been taken. We've got under 2 minutes to go to half-time. It remains 1-1. Spurs with the ball, with Porro in the centre circle, out to Kulusevski, over his head, and Kulusevski just watch it sail over his head and into the hoardings at the base of that Bob Lord stand, and it will be a Burnley throw. Have you enjoyed the first half?
I have. I didn't enjoy that pass from Porro. 25 years ago you could have got away with blaming the pitch, but you can't do that anymore. That was a mind the windows effort from Pedro Porro. But no, two teams, said before the game, similar philosophies, similar setups. They both try and play. Bit of risk and reward.
If that was on the cricket field, away towards our right-hand side, it would have been a 6. It would have cleared the boundary ropes. As O'Shea, that's a corner kick, is it not? It looked like again he'd left it late before clearing the ball away. Goodmanson downfield. Here is Udogie. That was late by O'Shea. That was a clumsy challenge from O'Shea, and it gives Spurs a direct free kick 30 yards out from goal. Middlesbrough 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Middlesbrough have had a terrible start to the season, yet to win in the Championship, drawn 1 and lost 3, behind at the Riverside, and it's Portsmouth 2, Peterborough 1. So Portsmouth have turned it around after looking to maintain their unbeaten start at Fratton Park after falling behind to Peterborough. So this free kick, again, it's probably too far out from goal, would you say?
Do you think James Madison is thinking that? O'Shea's had a strange first half. He's made some interesting decisions, hasn't he? Got a few of them wrong, and this is... Oh, you wouldn't put anything past Madison in the form that he's been in this season.
Well, we're about to find out how much added on time as it goes the downward header for Romero. And we're 3 minutes of added on time.
You know, he just makes a run towards the far post. Madison puts it on his head. Van der Ven standing free in the middle, and he headed it too close to Trafford.
Berger runs forward, runs into trouble, dispossessed by Solomon. Now he releases it to Sarr, midway through the Burnley half. He goes in field. Madison leaves it now towards Son. Son shoots, bit of movement, took a deflection, and it will be a corner kick to Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, Son 25 yards out, left-footed shot. I've got to say, I think Spurs have been very wasteful. Said that on a number of occasions. Just didn't make the most of that opportunity.
Crawley have got a goal back. Stockport County 2, Crawley 1 is the latest score in League 2. 1-1 here, 5 live in the World Service. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, Chelsea Forest is goalless, Manchester City 1, Fulham 1. Madison with the corner kick, headed away out of that Burnley crowded penalty area, comes back towards Madison, though, left-hand side. The angle is tight, down towards the byline, fires it over. Kulusevski controls it. It might break towards Sarr. Good challenge was made. Comes out towards Romero, who lashes the ball in from outside the penalty area, right-footed. And Tottenham Hotspur have come from behind. And in first half stoppage time, Tottenham now lead Burnley 2-1 with Christian Romero's second of the season.
Oh, this is special. The Romero rocket. This is some finish from Romero. Picks his spot. He must be, 20 yards out. And this is postage stamp stuff. It is. Feeds the ball at pace into the far corner. I just wonder whether there'll be an initial check on the ball going back to Madison from the corner, whether Madison was offside or not. I think that there's a debate to be had there, and Madison eventually crosses the ball into Kulusevski, who can't get a shot off. But yeah, Romero, what a finish this is.
They are checking the goal for a possible offside. Whilst they're doing that, we're going to go to Brentford and Chris Coles.
Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, but the chances continue to flow. Bournemouth, the better of them. Mark Fleckens just made a really good save to deny a dominant Solanke header. Into stoppage time, Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1.
Well, still checking for the possible offside. So you think it's when the ball goes back to Madison?
Yep, when the ball comes back to Madison. My initial reaction, honestly, was he was offside, but I often get things wrong. I think there was, Burnley players in the centre. Difficult one for the assistant to call. And when it's taking this long, what does that normally mean, Ian?
Well, they'll be looking for a number of issues in the build-up to it. Also, could you argue that once that ball has been crossed, that Burnley still had opportunities to clear the ball and to deal with the initial danger?
And that's a very good point. I think if you're Burnley, if he was offside, then you feel hard done by in that initial instance. But centre-half shouldn't be finishing like that, should they?
Well,
what a finish.
It certainly was rifled in by the right foot of Romero, and we're waiting still to see. I mean, at the moment, Darren England is the referee, and the goal stands. John Brooks, who's the VAR back at Stockley Park, will have had a good look at that, but the goal does stand after that VAR check, and in stoppage time, there was deemed to be no offside offence from Madison. And so therefore it's a lead for Tottenham Hotspur by 2-1 here at Turf Moor. Burnley with Roberts, far side to left, looking now to come from behind. Berger plays it towards Roberts, interception from Porro. Kulusevski flicks it back. Spurs with Sarr, and now Porro play their way through the press, and Son's able to turn, and he has a glance over his shoulder. He'll see that he's being closed down by Berger, but Son swivels and holds on to the ball, his forward ball, and O'Shea, that was clumsy as well. Madison goes to ground. O'Shea is suggesting that Madison has made the most of that, but did he just clip him?
Well, I've got to say, I've seen Madison dive before, but does O'Shea clip Madison, get his ankle? He didn't get any of the ball, but Madison did look to go down.
Just to say that Bolton have equalised at home to Derby, that's 1-1. Doncaster are down to 10 men. Tommy Rowe's been sent off. They're playing Swindon. Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 2. Charlton have equalised at home to Fleetwood. That's 1-1 at the Valley. Newport 1, Wimbledon 2 is the latest score in League 2, and there's been a third goal of the afternoon at the Etihad. Will Perry.
In first half added time, it's Nathan Ake who's given Manchester City the lead. It's City 2, Fulham 1. It's from a corner. Foden whips it in. Ake unmarked. Header into the bottom left. City 2, Fulham 1.
Kulusevski on the overlap from Solomon's pass inside the penalty area. Blocked by Al-Dakil. Kept alive though by Kulusevski for Tottenham. We're in the 5th minute of added on time. Of course, because of the goal that was scored, that VAR time would have been added on. We initially only had a minimum of 3, as there is indeed the half-time whistle. Burnley 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2. Your thoughts, Chris Sutton?
Burnley started the game superbly, didn't they? Foster giving them the lead after some really good work from Koleosho on that left-hand side, finding Foster. But then the longer the first half has gone on, Tottenham have gained the control. Son gets them level, and then a wonderful goal from Romero a couple of moments before half-time. I think on balance Spurs deserve it though. They've been the better team. They've taken the game to Burnley, but this will be an interesting second half.
Son's goal after 16 minutes and Romero in the 47th, cancelling out that early Lyle Foster opener. Half-time at Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Tottenham Hotspur 2.
Let's go back to the Etihad, because there's every chance that Manchester City goal could be ruled out. Will Perry?
Yeah, absolutely, because Manuel Akanji is standing right in front of the goalkeeper Bernd Leno. They're still looking at this back at Stockley Park, but Akanji does everything he can to get out of the way of it. He lifts up his left foot. He's definitely blocking Leno's view, and Leno cannot believe it now. He's got his head in his hands because the goal has been given here for Nathan Ake. So City look like they're going to go into the dressing room 2-1 up against Fulham, Mark.
Are you surprised by that?
Me?
Yeah.
I am actually, yeah. Are you
yeah, I am, yeah. I mean, Akanji doesn't touch it.
Yeah.
But he has to be interfering, doesn't he? Because
100%. Yeah.
It goes through his legs.
It goes through his legs. I mean, look, whether it makes a difference, Leno was fully stretched, but he's standing right in front of Leno's view as well. Like I say, he does everything he does to get out of the way of it, lifts up his left leg, almost skips in the air. Fulham's players, Mark, cannot believe it. Harry Wilson's remonstrating with the fourth official.
It's not Michael Oliver's fault, is it? I mean, they're remonstrating Michael Oliver. Michael Oliver's got no decision on that whatsoever.
It's Tony Harrington. It's Tony Harrington back in Stockley Park, and we've got about 6 or 7 players around the referee now. There's probably going to be cards coming out for that because of the new rules. But Tony Harrington and Adam Nunn will have to explain that back at Stockley Park. Marco Silva is going quite rightly ballistic because, I mean, look, I'm a City fan. Everyone knows that. That shouldn't have stood, Mark. It's 2-1 City, that.
Okay, well, we'll be back with you shortly. They still haven't resumed, actually, because of all the complaints at the Etihad. Remember earlier, Sheffield United and Everton finished 2-2, half-time at Brentford. Chris Coles.
Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1. Excellent watch this. Chances are plenty for both. Brentford in front inside 7 minutes. Matthias Jensen's free kick clawed out by goalkeeper Neto. A few seconds later, Bobby Madley's watch buzzed to indicate the ball just about crossed the line. Strange delay, but the right decision. Bournemouth level through Dominic Solanke's calm finish from 6 yards. Rolled his marker really well, kept his composure, took it well. Both sides have since squandered excellent chances to take the lead. It's unlikely the scoring has ended here. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1.
John Southall at Stamford Bridge.
Chelsea 0, Forest 0. It's been played at a good tempo this. Chelsea 68% possession, but Forest have had the best chance. Awoniyi smashing over the bar from 6 yards out. Should have done better with that. Also volleyed wide at the back post from a tight angle. Chelsea been restricted to 220 yards headers from Gallagher and Fernandez. The first wide, the second over the bar. Then in added time, Danilo pulled up on the far side, and it looks like he has quite a nasty muscle injury. He has gone off, yet to have a shot on target from either side. Half-time 0-0.
Not for the first time this season, and probably with good reason. Marco Silva is fuming at half-time. Will Perry.
So are the Fulham players as they go down the tunnel here, but the half-time score, Manchester City 2, Fulham 1. Alvarez gave City the lead with 31 minutes gone. Haaland played in by Kovacic. His cross found Alvarez, who tucked away past Leno. 2 minutes later, the visitors level. Ederson parried Jimenez's deflected shot from a corner, allowing Tim Ream to tap into an empty net. And then Ake scored in added time, controversially heading in Foden's corner. Ake unmarked, but it was Akanji standing in an offside position, definitely interfering with play. He was certainly in Leno's eye line. VAR checked it back at Stockley Park. It was given. Michael Oliver pointed to the centre circle. We played on for about 2 or 3 minutes before that half-time whistle, in which all the Fulham players went down to the referee, including Marco Silva, down that tunnel at half-time. I'm sure there'll be some bookings, but at the half-time it's Man City 2, Fulham 1.
3 early games in the Championship today. Birmingham 1, Millwall 1, Swansea 1, Bristol City 2, and Sunderland 5, Southampton 0. So Southampton's unbeaten start to the season has gone, and another unbeaten start to the season is in trouble. Leicester Hull. Pat Murphy.
Hull winning 1-0 at half-time due to a splendid goal from Delap. He cut in, ghosted past Doyle, left foot 20 yards out, took a slight deflection, but it was a fine individual goal. Leicester not really at the races. They've huffed and puffed. They've been siphoned off from the danger areas. Only Ingram, the goalkeeper, his lack of communication with the Hull City defence has proved a major worry for Hull. Leicester 0, Hull 1.
And the team in second are struggling as well. Sani Radravajala.
Yes, it's Rotherham 2, Norwich City 0. Rotherham winless, Norwich unbeaten. But it's the opener from 20-year-old Dexter Lembikisa was absolutely brilliant. He scored a goal that every fullback would dream of scoring. A corner comes to him on the edge of the area. It's bouncing and he strikes it into the top right-hand corner for his first ever career goal for the Wolves Loney. And then that was on 22 minutes. And then 5 minutes from time, a second. Jordan Hugill against his old side. A whipped cross from Cafu. Hugill heading to help it on its way. Miller's great value for the scoreline so far. Rotherham 2, Norwich 0 at half-time.
Goalless at Ellen Road. Betty.
Yeah, Leeds 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0. Leeds on top have had most of the possession this first half, Mark, but Wednesday have been defending well, preventing Leeds from finding any gaps. They have had a fair few chances though. Piero going wide, Somerville over the bar, and Ruta, who had his shot palmed away, but they're just lacking that edge. Sheffield Wednesday have that in common with them. It's goalless at the break.
Next, let's go to Portman Road. Flo Pollock.
Ipswich trail Cardiff by a goal to 0. Aaron Ramsey, the scorer. He started the move, made the late run into the box to tuck away the cutback. Aaron Ramsey, still an absolute joy to watch. Yaku Maitai should have doubled Cardiff's lead in stoppage time, headed over from 6 yards out. Ipswich too passive really in attack. Half time, Ipswich 0, Cardiff 1.
Stoke 0, Preston 0. Details from Charlie Slater.
Yeah, and even first half though, Preston have had by far the best chance. 10 minutes before the break, dangerous ball into the edge of the 6-yard box from Andrew Hughes, led to an almighty scramble. Somehow though, Stoke's keeper Mark Travers has managed to keep him out. It's still goalless at the break.
Elsewhere, Watford haven't won or scored in their last 3, so at least they've put one in the back of the net this afternoon through Mileta Rajovic. That gave them the lead at Coventry. Coventry equalising through Milan van Ewijk, and so it's Coventry 1, Watford 1 at the break. Middlesbrough 0, QPR 1. They're yet to win in the Championship this season, and Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough and Andre Dazelle has given Gareth Ainsworth's side the lead at the Riverside. Plymouth lead Blackburn by a goal to 0. Finn Azaz with that, and it's West Brom 0, Huddersfield 1. Huddersfield, another side who are yet to win this season. Delano Bergsorg has got the goal for Neil Warnock's side. Let's go into League One, and we're with the leaders this afternoon. Oxford, Aaron Paul.
Oxford 0, Port Vale 0. Loads of approach play from the home side. No end result though. Tyler Goodrum has had their best chance denied from close range by Connor Ripley. Port Vale's best opportunity has come through James Wilson. Beadle with the save following a curled shot in from the edge of the D. Half time, Oxford 0, Port Vale 0.
Elsewhere in League One, Blackpool lead Wigan by a goal to 0. Jordan Rhodes got that. 2 penalties at Bolton this afternoon. Derby taking the lead through Conor Hourahan. Dion Charles, 5th of the season, also from the spot, equalising for Ian Evert's side. It's Bristol Rovers 0, Lincoln 0, Burton 0, second place Exeter 0. Goalless as well between Carlisle and Shrewsbury. Charlton, who sacked Dean Holden last Sunday, the first EFL sacking of the season. A level at the break, 1-1 all at home to Fleetwood. Cheltenham, who are yet to score this season, they're the only side yet to score in the whole of the EFL, are goalless again, but their opponents Barnsley are goalless as well. It's Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 2. Charlie McNeil getting the first goal for Steve Evans' side. He joined on loan from Manchester United this week. It's Northampton 0, Wickham 1, Oxford 0, Port Vale 0, as we've heard from Aaron, and Portsmouth have come from a goal down to lead Peterborough by 2-1. Colby Bishop getting one of those goals, 3 for the season for him. We're with the League 2 leaders as well this afternoon. MK Dons at Crewe, Nestor McGregor.
And at half-time, it's still advantage MK Dons. They lead Crewe Alexandra by 1-0. 45 minutes, that honestly felt like 45 seconds. So enjoyable has the football been. The home side shading the possession stats, but nothing to show for it. 2 shots, neither of them have been on target. So Jonathan Lecco's low strike from inside the box after 8 minutes, still the difference here. Crewe Alexandra 0, MK Dons 1.
In the early game in League 2, Wrexham beat Tranmere by 1-0. It's Doncaster 0, Swindon 0. Doncaster down to 10. Tommy Rowe has been sent off there for Grant McCann's side. Grimsby lead Gillingham by 2-0. They had their first defeat of the season last week, did Gillingham, and they're behind again this afternoon. Harrogate 0, Barrow 1, Mansfield 0, Bradford 0. Michael Mellon's 4th of the season for Morecambe gives them a 1-0 lead over Salford. All about the top scorers in the game between Newport and AFC Wimbledon. James Tilley's got both for AFC Wimbledon, 7 for the season for him. Will Evans has pulled one back for Newport, 8 for the season for him. Notts County 1, Accrington Stanley 1. Stockport lead Crawley by 2-1. Louis Barry getting the first for Stockport there. That's 3 for the season for him. They've won just 1 of 7 this season of Dave Challoner's side. It's goalless between Sutton and Forest Green Rovers, and also between Walsall and Colchester. In the National League, Aldershot 1, Chesterfield 1, Altrincham 1, Bromley 1, Borehamwood 0, Barnet 0. Dagenham and Redbridge lead AFC Fylde 2-1. Goalless between Dorking and Eastleigh. It's Ebbsfleet 2, York 1, Hartlepool 1, Wealdstone 0, Maidenhead 0, Woking 0. Rochdale are behind at the break. They trail FC Halifax by 1-0. The leaders, Solihull Moors, were behind at home to Oxford City, but they lead 2-1 at the break, and it's Southend 0, Kidderminster 0. In the Scottish Premiership this afternoon, Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Livingston 0, St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 0, Dundee 1. In the Championship, Arbroath 1, Ayr 1, Dundee United 1, Airdrieonians 0, Inverness 1, Dunfermline 0, Morton 1, Partick 1, Wraith 1, 10-man Queen's Park 0. In League 1, Alloa 1, Cove Rangers 0, Edinburgh City 0, Falkirk 1, Kelty Hearts 0, Annan 0, Queen of the South 0, Montrose 2, and Stirling 1, Hamilton 2. In League 2 this afternoon, Bonnyrigg Rose 2, Elgin 0, Clyde 0, Forfar 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife 0. Also goalless between Spartans and Stenhousemuir, and Stranraer lead Peterhead by 2-0. In the cricket, in the men's one-day international, India 266 all out against Pakistan. In the women's T20 international between England and Sri Lanka, England didn't have a great time with the bat. Let's go there. I have no idea who am I talking to. Melissa or Daniel? Which one?
The score.
Melissa? All right, well, we can't get either of them. Anyone, 104 all out, England were off 18 overs. In Super League this afternoon, Hull 4, Leeds 18, Warrington 18, Castleford 6. You're up to date, 2 minutes past 4. Nick Hatfield has the news.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Thank you, Mark. Good afternoon. Rishi Sunak is facing calls from the Liberal Democrats to hold an emergency Cobra meeting to look at public buildings in England made from crumbling concrete. More than 100 schools and colleges have been forced to close classrooms because of concerns about the material. It was first used in the 1950s and had an expected lifespan of 30 years. The Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, has asked independent inspectors to look into activism and impartiality within police forces in England and Wales. The Police Federation is warning against officers being used as a political football. Police are questioning a 38-year-old woman and a 48-year-old man on suspicion of murder after the discovery of partial human remains in Boscombe in Dorset. The victim has been identified as a man from Bournemouth. And Sir Elton John has paid tribute to the US singer-songwriter Jimmy Buffett, who's died aged 76. He was best known for his hit Margaritaville. Sir Elton says he was a unique and treasured talent.
One of the biggest art thefts in Scottish history.
In 2003, the Madonna of the Armwinder by Leonardo da Vinci was stolen.
They obviously knew what they wanted and, took the painting and then it went quiet.
An investigation to reveal the truth.
It's crazy, this doesn't even happen in movies.
He got greedy. He was trying to do deals for himself.
Including previously unheard recordings of those involved.
I will do what you instruct in a letter.
The Missing Madonna. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Teams coming back out at Turf Moor before we head back to Ian and Chris, to Ian Carter at the Walker Cup.
8 singles matches this afternoon after GB&I took a 3-1 lead from the morning foursomes against the United States. The home side only ahead in 2 of the singles, with John Goff 4 up after 4 against Nick Dunlap. The Americans ahead in 4 and 2 are all square.
Carlos Sainz is on pole for the Italian Grand Prix, so that means Ferrari on pole for the Italian Grand Prix, which you'll be able to follow with us tomorrow across the BBC. So in the Premier League already today, it finished Sheffield United 2, Everton 1, and at half-time in the 3 o'clocks, it is Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 0, and Manchester City, rather controversially, lead Fulham by 2 goals to 1. Tottenham lead Burnley by the same score. Let's go back to Chris and Ian.
Thanks, Mark. Both teams are out on the pitch. We're just waiting for the coaching staff to make that long trek from the tunnel area away in this bottom right-hand corner in a diagonal walk over towards the Bob Lord stand on that far side, and then referee Darren England, once the last stragglers have crossed that touchline, have gone over the way, will get the match back underway. And there has been a change. So Burnley have made one alteration. Didn't actually come on the field on the far side, did he? He's actually started in his starting position, but it's Delcroix.
Yeah.
Who's come on? Who's gone off for Delcroix? Is it Goodmanson? So they've gone with 3 at the back, haven't they now? So Delcroix, O'Shea and Bayer will be the 3 at the back. Robertson with a left wing back, El Dakil with a right wing back, and then in the midfield, and in fact there's another change as well, because that's Josh Brownhill, isn't it? Who's out there as well.
Yeah, Sander Berger.
So Sander Berger has gone off. Yeah. So it's a double change that has been made by Burnley. So Brownhill, Cullen, and then Foster and Amdouni make up the side, as well as Koleosho for Burnley. For Spurs, Vicario in goal, Porro, Van der Ven, Romero and Udogi, Madison, Saar, Basuma, Kulusevski, Solomon and Son. Spurs lead by 2 goals to 1. And in the second half, they're attacking the cricket field end of the ground, so they're playing from left to right as we look in their charcoal grey away strip against a Burnley side in their claret and sky blue shirts and sky blue shorts, therefore attacking the Jimmy McIlroy stand. We'll get an early update from Brentford, Chris Coles.
Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1, but half-time has not curtailed the chances flowing. Brentford have just missed a glorious one. Brian and Burmo 7 yards out, had all of the goal to aim for, and he inexplicably curled it wide. Still Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1.
So only now are the substitutes being confirmed to the crowd here at Turf Moor. Burnley taking a 4th minute lead. Spurs coming from behind. So Romero, his forward ball, helped on very well by Porro, and he pushes it round the corner. And now it's Kulusevski in towards Son, but it was a heavy first touch, and it allowed Trafford to make the save at the feet of the South Korean international.
What a chance for Son to virtually wrap this game up. Just such a heavy touch. Just needed a cleaner touch, keeping the ball closer to him. but too easy for Spurs to play through Burnley. Down the Spurs right, the Burnley left. Ball into Porro. He flicks the ball round the corner to Kulusevski, who waits a pass to Son. 1-on-1. Heavy touch, and well played James Trafford, reading that situation well, but Spurs should be virtually out of sight.
If Spurs had shown a ruthless streak in front of goal, then they could easily have doubled their 2-goal tally so far here at Turf Moor in the sunshine on a very, very pleasant afternoon in East Lancashire. Spurs lead by 2-1, as here is Sarr. Sarr to Kulusevski, looking to bounce back after that early defeat in the League Cup. Kulusevski takes it on, feeds it towards Son, first time shot, block comes in from O'Shea, Sarr reacts to it, Kulusevski caught by Amdouni, but Spurs win the ball back, and Burnley at the minute can't get out.
And you talk about the Postecoglou effect, just look where Pedro Porro, his positioning at the start of this second half, actually playing as a right forward. Couple of occasions there, clever little ball back to Kulusevski, played a give and go.
Spurs looking good. Udogie coming forward and room to run into. He's got Son ahead of him. Son makes the run left hand side of the penalty area. Spurs lead by 2-1. Son waits. Solomon is just to his outside. Now he slips it into the path of Madison. Madison checks back. Madison looks for the shooting opportunity, and Trafford makes the save at his near post.
His first chop was brilliant. James Madison, forward run towards the Burnley byline, shapes to whip it in with his left foot, chops back. I think it's Connor Roberts who he sells a dummy to, and then actually makes the wrong decision, goes to beat James Trafford at his near post, and Trafford makes a comfortable save down to his right.
There's been a goal at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
What about this? Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1 at the beginning of the second half. Through ball to Alanga. He kept his composure and tucked it into the bottom right hand corner. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1.
Well, at home under Pochettino, they've won 1, they've drawn 1. That could complete the set if they were to lose one against the Nottingham Forest side that have lost both away from home so far. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1. Manchester City lead Fulham by 2-1. Earlier it was Sheffield United 2, Everton 2 in the early kick-off at Bramall Lane. So both sides getting their first point on the board of the new season. In the Championship, Birmingham 1, Millwall 1. Excellent win for Sunderland at home to Southampton, whose unbeaten start came to a shuddering halt at the Stadium of Light. 5-0 for Tony Mowbray's side. Swansea 1, Bristol City 2. And in the early game in League 2, Phil Parkinson's Wrexham got a 1-0 win at Prenton Park at Tranmere Rovers. The goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live in the World Service. We're here at Turf Moor, where Burnley trail by 2-1. And now there's a penalty at Stoke City in the Championship. Charlie Slater.
So Rotherham, 5 gone in the second half. Will Keane stood over the ball, but his right foot blazes it straight down the middle. His third of the season, celebrates in front of the away fans. Stoke 0, Rotherham 1. Rotherham 1, Preston 1.
I was going to say, yeah, so Stoke against Preston as the shot comes in from Brownhill. 30 yards out from goal. I thought that was a very good impression of Sani Ravagula when you were saying about Rotherham, but it's Preston then who lead at Stoke City, and Brownhill here from 30 yards out with a right-footed effort over the top of the crossbar. And would you believe there is now a goal at Rotherham, Sani?
Yes, it's now Rotherham 2, Norwich City 1. Work down the left-hand side, it's been stabbed home. Norwich players all congregating it together, grabbing the ball, restarting. They are still losing though. It's Rotherham 2, Norwich 1.
That Will Keane penalty for Preston. They're going very, very well. It would mean that they would win their last 4. Here is Foster for Burnley, cut out by Basuma. Udogie passes the ball to Solomon, just tries to slip out of the way there as the challenge then comes in on that far side by Al-Dakil, and it goes out of play, and it's a Burnley throw. Derby County, incidentally, in League One are down to 10 men. They're currently drawing at Bolton. Bolton 1, Derby County 1. But Joe Wildsmith, the goalkeeper, has been sent off. As here now is Koleosho, holds onto the ball too long, put out of play. Safety first by Porro, trying to build up a head of steam, the home team.
I've got to say, he's been their most dangerous player, hasn't he, Koleosho? When the ball finds his feet, looks like something can happen, and that's where Burnley can be encouraged.
And here he is running at Porro, darting on the outside of Porro, and he gets away from Porro a second time and he pulls it back, but on the stretch right-footed Amdouni couldn't control the ball, cleared only as far away as Bayer, out towards Al-Dakil, far side the right, infield to Cullen. Always economical with the ball, passes it Brownhill, works it towards Foster, looks to try and create that shooting opportunity, forced away from goal. Burnley still have it. Brownhill now towards Bayer. Spurs are back in numbers, but Udogie just steps forward, then he's wrestled to the floor by Foster, and it will be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur, who still lead by 2-1.
Well, how is that not a yellow card? When you think about the one in the first half of Kulusevski, I think Ange Postecoglou feels the same way. Foster is held back. I mean, it's virtually a rugby tackle. Udogie doesn't see yellow.
Cute little ball by Porro, the inverted right back, just to give space for Sarr to run forward on this near side the right, and now it's with Kulusevski, right corner of the area. Kulusevski enters the penalty box but is stopped, and Delcroix to Brownhill. West Bromwich Albion have equalised in the Championship at the Hawthorns. Said that they'd won both of their home games. They were behind against the Huddersfield side, who are yet to win. It's West Brom 1, Huddersfield 1. You're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service here at Turf Moor. 8 minutes into the second half as O'Shea to Trafford, closed down inside his own 6-yard area by Son. Chips the ball out towards that far side, the right, but Spurs get the ball back with Udogie, and he feeds it towards Madison. Madison with a shooting opportunity. Oh, what a finish! Finishes with a palm, right-footed, past Trafford. Burnley never dealt with the danger. Madison had the time. He picked his spot. They increased their lead. They lead Burnley 3-1. Fine goal.
Well, talking about shooting yourselves in the foot, Burnley, you cannot leave a player of James Madison's quality and class 20 yards out with a free shot at goal. There was only going to be one outcome in that situation, and it's a devastating finish. It's Al-Dakil who carelessly gives the ball away. Ball popped into Madison, has the freedom of Turf Moor, gets his head up, has a little look, and bends the ball into the far corner. A long way for Burnley to come back from. We're just seeing this again on the monitor. It's a wonderful finish.
It's a fine goal from Madison, but Burnley were naive. Coventry 1, Watford 2 is the latest score in the Championship, and there's another goal in the Championship at Portman Road. Flo Pollock.
Cardiff double their lead, Ipswich 0, Cardiff 2. A stroke of luck in the build-up as the ball was ping-ponging around in the box, but Joe Rawls with the finish for Cardiff. Ipswich 0, Cardiff 2.
The Spurs supporters are in full voice. That long trek from North London, navigating their way around the diversions around Turf Moor and the build-up to get to this game. But it's been worth the hassle as they look for more goals. Madison left-hand side of the penalty area, and Bayer eventually will clear the ball away for Burnley, but only as far as Sarr. They've fallen behind, or they fell behind early doors, did Tottenham, but they have responded in a superb fashion and now lead by 3-1. How have Chelsea responded, John Southall?
Well, they're looking for some response here. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Casado, who gave the ball away for the goal on the edge of the area, deflected wide off Worrell, who has been colossal this afternoon from the corner. Disassi headed over. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
What an excellent save from Vicario, and the sliding challenge by Romero. Foster's sent away. He's looking to try and get one-on-one, but Romero, the covering defender, slides in, and then Vicario with a fingertip save behind for a corner kick.
It's a brilliant save from Vicario. You're quite right, the ball in behind. Van der Ven, Foster had the pace on him, right-footed finish, took a deflection off Romero. Vicario left-handed over the bar. And what about his celebration?
Corner kick swung in by Brownhill, cleared away by Udogie inside the 6-yard area. Cheltenham 0, Barnsley 1, Stockport 2, Crawley 2. Stockport were 2 up at Edgeley Park in League 2, but that has been squandered. And you're right about the celebration.
Well, see, come on, are you having that?
I tell you, as a supporter, I think every fan, if they saw their team respond like that, as in comes the cross headed away by Romero, bearing in mind people talked about their weak mentality, the old Tottenham after the 9 changes going out at Fulham.
Where does it stop though? Somebody's celebrating a tackle? A throw-in? Where does it stop?
You
it's
are
his job, isn't it?
You're urging each other on. as Brownhill catches Kulusevski, and the referee gives the free kick. Goal at Stoke, Charlie Slater.
57 minutes on the clock. Preston are 2-0 up. An all-time great ball down the right from Potts to Holmes. Holmes squares it to Will Keane. He's got his second of the afternoon, and Preston are going top of the Championship.
I forgot you were a part of the celebration police, aren't you? You'll no doubt mention that on 606 later on.
Well, that's his job, isn't it, Vicario? Good save as it was, but it celebrated like it won the World Cup. Come on. Just seeing the Brownhill booking, that's a ridiculous booking. He wins the ball against Kulusevski, but follows through, and that's what the yellow card was for. Harsh.
The woodwork has been struck again at Brentford. Chris Coles.
And once again struck by Brentford. This time Johan Visser. Lovely turn inside the penalty area. He just slipped at the crucial moment. It wasn't the cleanest left foot shot. Still beat the keeper, but didn't beat the post. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 1.
Newport County 2, Wimbledon 2. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 2. Dundee have a second goal at McDermott Park, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live and the World Service. Take us with you on this pleasant afternoon on BBC Sounds as Udogie is forward. Solomon, left-hand side, left corner of the penalty area, now towards Basuma. Basuma looks for a shooting opportunity. Back out it goes towards Udogie. Spurs threatening once again. Udogie towards Basuma. Burnley have everybody back, defending very deep, but they work their way through that crowded penalty area, and Udogie then goes down to Zerbaya and buys a free kick. And it will be a free kick to the home side. Talking of BBC Sounds, it will be well worth, if you haven't already downloaded it onto your phone for the app for the Rugby Union World Cup that starts next Friday, because every match will certainly be live on there, as well as 5 Live, Sports Extra, or the BBC Sport app as well. Every game live on the BBC, the radio, as Redmond is going to be coming on for Burnley. The former Birmingham, Norwich and Southampton player, been relegated 4 times from the Premier League in his career, but all the noise is coming from the Tottenham supporters away towards our right, and 2 of the new boys, Burnley and Luton, look like they will be pointless after match day 4, but of course for those 2 sides that have only played the 3 games after that match that was scheduled at Kenilworth Road was postponed earlier in the season. But Burnley are looking at the prospect for only the 4th time in their history, in a top-flight campaign that is, for losing their opening 3 matches, 1920, 1927, 2020 and 2023, as we go to Manchester City and Will Perry.
Still Man City 2, Fulham 1. Foden with a first-time cross-come shot from a tight angle. It was held by Leno. City heading for 4 wins out of 4, but so far not convincing. Manchester City 2, Fulham 1.
Here is Roberts on this near side, plays the ball up towards Koleosho. Can't hold on to the ball. Now Basuma will run forward. Basuma, he's got Madison going on ahead of him. Madison's had an excellent game. Here is Son, who's looked lively. They try and interchange as Basuma then hits a right-footed shot. Came to him first time. Trafford make the save.
Just connecting really well in that final third now. If you're a Tottenham fan watching this brand of football, it must be exciting. I think Postecoglou made a mistake in the week with his team selection, albeit they still went out on penalties. But they are a good team to watch, and this is just the start.
It was Amdouni who's gone off for Redmond. So that's the 3rd substitution that Vincent Kompany has made. Signed on a free from Besiktas, as the ball clipped in by Porro to Son, off the chest, and on the cover was O'Shea to turn the ball behind for a corner kick. All Tottenham.
Looks a happier player this season, doesn't he? Son, greater responsibility as captain, really good run in behind, peeling in between 2 Burnley centre-halves, and good spot from Porro. Well covered in the end.
Portsmouth 3, Peterborough 1. So Portsmouth look like they're going to maintain their unbeaten start to the season in League One. That will be a 3rd win, drawing the other 3 so far. Corner kick to Tottenham, leading by 3 goals to 1. Takes the acclaim of the away support. Does Madison? Madison swings it over now headed out by El Dakil, and Basuma plays the ball back. Goal at the Etihad, Will Perry.
I guess this is what potential champions again do. Not convincing, but getting the 3 points. Manchester City 3, Fulham 1, and guess what? It's Erling Haaland with his 4th Premier League goal of the season. He's played in beautifully from Ruben Dias, I think it is, and then Haaland just turns and spins and tucks it past Lerner. 3-1 City.
Basuma shoots wide, goal kick, goal at Ipswich, Flo Pollock.
Ipswich pull one back, a quality strike from Nathan Broadhead. Good footwork to make space on the edge of the box. His shot lashed home. Ipswich 1, Cardiff 2.
We've just heard from Manchester City, and one of Chelsea's acquisitions from City is making his Chelsea debut. John Southall.
Here's the Chelsea number 20 has just come on for his debut. Cole Palmer, after his £42 million signing yesterday from Manchester City, needs to inspire Chelsea. They trail Nottingham Forest by a goal to 0.
Our featured game in League One has just seen a red card. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, opposite Paul Burnley. This is damaging for the home side. Mark Harris, who's been a great spark for Oxford all game, has been sent off following an aerial 50-50 that went against him. Oxford 0, Paul Burnley, Oxford down to 10.
Tottenham Hotspur increase their lead. Solomon with the assist, passing the ball towards Son, and Son fired past Trafford, and Tottenham Hotspur, the 3 points surely secure now, and it's 3-1, 3 wins on the spin in the league for Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, Ange Ball at its very best. This is a Tottenham team who are just growing in confidence under Ange Postecoglou. Said a couple of moments ago, Son playing with a smile on his face. It wasn't the same Son last season, but it's a really confident finish from 10-12 yards. Ball pulled back on the left hand side, has a little look up, he's in and around the penalty spot, and fires the ball into the corner, left hand corner, past Trafford, who has absolutely no chance.
Very, very comfortable now for Tottenham Hotspur. 4-1 they lead against a Burnley side, well, who are finding life back in the top flight very tough. They conceded 3 against Manchester City, they conceded 3 against Aston Villa, and whilst the quality of opposition remains very, very high, they've now conceded 4 against Tottenham Hotspur, all at home.
I think it was Solomon who made the pass.
It was
to Son, who just lets the ball run across his body, opens his right foot out and just pops it into the corner. And from Burnley's perspective, we've spoken about, and it's admirable, they want to play an expansive brand of football. That's a risk, and they have been ruthlessly exposed this afternoon.
They certainly have. Here is Roberts for Burnley. Slips it on the inside. Brownhill challenged by Sarr and Kulusevski. Kulusevski strong running, making a diagonal run out towards that far side, the right. They just can't get him off the ball at the moment. He's used his strength ever so well as Kulusevski. In the end, it is El Dakil who will dispossess him. That was good play by Kulusevski for Tottenham. Walsall 1, Colchester United 0 is a latest score in League Two as the ball is chipped out towards that far side, and Tottenham are going to be making some changes very soon. We'll go to Leicester in the Championship. Pat Murphy.
It's still 1-0 to Luton, to Hull rather. It should have been 2-0. Connolly wasted a great chance, but then Fatawu, one of the 3 substitutes brought on, tricky run, lovely left foot shot, 20 yards out, hit the inside of the post. Crowd are getting behind Leicester now, but they're still 1-0 down to Hull.
Games don't get much easier actually for Burnley after the international break. After the away game at Nottingham Forest, they've got Manchester United at home and Newcastle United away. Really is quite a daunting start for Vincent Kompany and his team, the champions from the Championship last season. 4-1 they trail here at home. A goal at Crewe, our featured game in League Two. Nesta McGregor.
Yes, it's Crewe 1, MK Dons 1. A much brighter start after the break from the home side, and a goal to show good work from substitute Charlo Tracy down the right hand side, beat his defender, crossed it, running onto it was Connor Thomas, low strike, corner of the net, keeper didn't move, all level here.
Son has just completed what is his 5th hat-trick for Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs are running riot at Turf Moor as the Burnley fans head to the exits in their droves. Ball played through, composed finish by Son. 5-1.
And what a call from Ange Postecoglou to start him as a central striker. this afternoon. Devastating finish, ball in behind. I spoke about it in the first half, spacing behind that Burnley back line. Son will make those runs, and it's a composed finish. Left hand side of the box, takes a touch and slides the ball past Trafford, who actually hasn't had a bad game, and he's conceded 5 this afternoon, but an absolutely devastating finish. And this is Spurs running riot. Great ball from Porro it is.
We said though at the start of the second half that if Spurs, who had that ruthless streak, had they taken their chances, those openings, then they would have doubled their lead. That was when it was 2-1. Now they are taking their chances and they're making Burnley pay.
Oh, absolutely. And the good thing about that, Ian, is Son is in my fantasy team and he's now got a hat-trick. Speaking selfishly.
Well, I thought that was the only way you do speak.
But you've got to say, this has been such an impressive performance, to think that they had to weather a bit of a Burnley storm in the early stages.
Yeah.
But they have been absolutely relentless in this second half. I mean, you feel for Vincent Kompany and Burnley, but Spurs so quick and incisive with their passing. Basuma is becoming prominent, and this is going to do Son the world of good, this hat-trick.
Well, it is, bearing in mind that he'd gone 8 games without a goal. His last goal was actually against Liverpool in April. Perisic has come on for Solomon. Pape Sarr has been replaced by Hotspur. There are a couple of changes that have been made for Tottenham, and Burnley have just made a change as well. Brun Larsen has come on, and it's Koleosho who has gone off. So the Danish winger is on for Burnley, who are losing here by 5-1, and we're only midway through the second half. Elsewhere, Sutton 0, Forest Green 1, Crewe 1, MK Dons 1. We just heard about that from Nesta. Coventry 2, Watford 2, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live. But Tottenham Hotspur 5-1, rampant, absolutely rampant. Let's get the team news from the Amex. John Murray.
Brighton are without the injured Danny Welbeck, so Pedro comes back in, and 2 more changes at the back for Brighton. Milner and Webster are on the bench today, so Van Heck and Veltman are in the team. Ansu Fati is not available to play yet, by the way, and Joe Linton's fit for Newcastle, but Botman's not made it. That's their only change. Burn into central defence, and Target comes into the team.
Commentary to come with John and James Collins from 5:30. Redmond right hand side of the penalty area with a cutback. Foster. Seems a long time ago since he put Burnley ahead in the 4th minute, doesn't it?
Oh, it absolutely doesn't. No, it's difficult for the Burnley players. They have been absolutely outclassed in this second half, haven't they?
Yes, they most certainly have. A goal at Ipswich. Flo Pollock.
Ipswich equalised. Ipswich 2, Cardiff 2. It was a corner that was rolled along the turf and tucked in by Freddie Ladapo. Ipswich 2, Cardiff 2.
As for Spurs, well, they really are making an excellent start under Ange Postecoglou. And the Spurs supporters in full voice, making all the noise, as Madison on that far side rolls the ball up towards Perisic, and now, of course, with the luxury to make the changes that he is, Ange Postecoglou, as Notts County are leading Accrington by 2-1. Stockport 2, Crawley 3. Stockport were leading 2-0 at Edgeley Park, as Hotspur now towards Porro. Kulusevski, but Son revelling in that roll through the middle.
Burnley still playing that high line.
Let's go to Chelsea. John Southall.
Chelsea have 20 minutes to try and rectify this. Chelsea 0, Forest 1. Nicholas Jackson's just gone down in the penalty area, but offside flag was up. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, with 19 minutes remaining. Tottenham Hotspur 5-1 up here at Burnley. A bedraggled Burnley, as Redmond challenged by Basuma and out of it. No, the referee will give the throw in favour of Burnley instead.
The issue Burnley have, I don't know whether you remember Norwich City coming up a couple of seasons ago, going to Anfield first game, and Norwich City had their principles of play under Daniel Farke, wanted to play out and take risks. Here goes Madison going off, and they got hammered that night, but still got praised because of their style of football. I think the longer this run goes on for Burnley in the Premier League and they don't pick up points, then the confidence will start to seep out of the players, and that is the danger, playing this certain brand of football.
Well, if you remember the last time that they were in the Premier League in 21-22, they only had one win in their opening 21 games. They were picking up points. They did have 11 draws during that time and 9 defeats. But the writing was on the wall for a long time, and as we said, then games to come after the international break. That Forest away game is going to be huge, with Manchester United at home and Newcastle away to come hot on the heels. Richarlison has replaced the hat-trick hero, so Son has gone off, and Richarlison has come on with 18 minutes remaining.
Why is Postecoglou taking off Son? He's in my fantasy team. That's a big issue.
Well, maybe.
I think we get it. You've got to wrap him in cotton wool, haven't you?
Penalty at Manchester City, Will Perry.
Penalty for City after Diop shoved Alvarez. It's Erling Haaland. Here he is. Missed last week at Sheffield United. Doesn't miss this week against Fulham. Puts that one into the top left corner past Bernd Leno. He only needs 31 to equal last season's tally. Haaland's on a hat-trick. City 4, Fulham 1.
Middlesbrough 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2 is the latest score in the Championship, and Bolton 2, Derby 1 is the latest score in League One. I'll go through all the latest scores around the grounds very, very soon, but there has been a goal at Oxford United. Aaron Paul.
Oxford 0, Port Vale 1. Port Vale break the deadlock through Alex Yakoviti. It looks like the header took a final touch of an Oxford defender, but the visitors have the lead. Oxford 0, Port Vale 1.
No attempt to play the ball. Jordan Bayer has just been shown a yellow card for a pullback as Perisic was tried to get away on the left-hand side. But there is a real gulf between the two sides now.
Yeah, there absolutely is, and you feel for Burnley getting off to the start, which they did have. The support have really stayed with them, but they have been absolutely exposed and outclassed. You expected it against Manchester City, opening game. I thought they put up a spirited performance. Villa, difficult team, but this one is really going to hurt Vincent Kompany and his team, because simply, this second half, they haven't been in it. They have not laid a glove on Tottenham. It's largely down to that guy on the ball, James Madison. He is just dictating the game, isn't he?
Yeah, Madison has been so instrumental. He looks for the ball over the top. He runs into the penalty area, can't control it, runs away and out for a goal kick. Jack Corker's replaced by, that's been the final change then made by Burnley, as the woodwork has been struck for a third time at Brentford. Chris Cole.
For the third time struck by Brentford. Keane Lewis Potter on as a second half sub. The ball rather hit him on the line, didn't know much about it, and it hit the outside of the post before bouncing to safety. Oh, Brentford, what do you have to do to score? Still 1-1 with Bournemouth.
Their previous home games, one of them in fact was against Tottenham, have both been drawn. Commentary to come from Brighton. Very attractive game it will be too. Brighton against Newcastle United at 5:30 after Sports Report, but Tottenham Hotspur have just completely bossed this second half, as here is Porro Kulusevski as the ball goes back to Tohibier, plays it through the middle to Van der Ven. Basuma out towards that far side. They're looking for more goals. Perisic looks up, sends over the cross. In it goes. Porro hits it on the half volley out for a goal kick. And now a goal at Brentford. Chris Coles.
And wouldn't you just know it, it's gone to Bournemouth. Brentford hit the post 3 times, but Bournemouth on the counter-attack. Poor error in the Brentford back line. Tavernier squared to David Brooks. The two subs combine. Brooks taps in for his first Premier League goal in over 3 years, and Bournemouth have turned it around. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 2.
Well, these are the latest scores then. Bournemouth now 2-1 up, as we just heard from Chris. It's 5-1 here to Tottenham. Forest is still leading at Chelsea, incidentally, by 1-0. And Manchester City, the champions, 4, Fulham 1. So they will maintain their 100% winning start to the season. In the cricket, incidentally, commentary this is on Sports Extra, the second women's T20 at Chelmsford. England were 104 all out, so Sri Lanka are 74 for 1, so they require 31 to win from 12 and a half overs with those 9 wickets remaining. I'll give you the latest scores. We'll start in the Scottish Premiership. Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 1, Livingston 0, St Mirren 0. St Mirren will be going top ahead of the Old Firm tomorrow, just by a point, however. St Johnstone 0, Dundee 2. And this is a shot coming in from distance that takes a deflection from Cullen and goes behind for a corner kick. Chris Sutton. Oh, Charlton have come from behind. They now lead Fleetwood 2-1, and it's Plymouth 2, Blackburn 0.
Yeah, speculative effort from Josh Cullen. He's had a really difficult afternoon, hasn't he? Trying to get close to James Madison. That's one of those, albeit it's Burnley's corner. Try and get a goal, but they don't want to concede any more.
Roberts, cross comes in, fired by Brownhill, who's coming in on that right-hand side, took a deflection. Vicario made the save.
Didn't celebrate that one, did he?
You never said that. It might have been a turning point for them after Romero and Vicario at that point, as they cross again is blocked on the right-hand side. Burton 0, Exeter 1 is the latest score in League One. 5 Live and the World Service. 13 minutes remaining. Corner kick. We've got our Tottenham back, is the chant from the Spurs supporters. O'Shea's header back into the penalty area. Comes to Al Dakhil. Back towards Al Dakhil. Blocked by Romero. Another good block from the defender. Goes to meet it. Terrific header out. Full of determination from the Spurs defender, who then runs into to Cullen. And now Cork tries to carry it forward. But the game is gone for Burnley. They're just looking for a mere consolation. And they do get another corner.
Yeah, that was a towering header from Romero. As the ball went up in the air in the Spurs box, made it his great leap and determination. He's enjoying defending this afternoon.
Corner kick, right hand side, swung over. O'Shea tried to get on the end of it, comes out towards Cork, Al Dakhil, and he's on the volley, put it well wide. So the result earlier at Prenton Park in the early kick-off in League 2 was Tranmere 0, Wrexham 1. Latest scores: Crewe 2, MK Dons 1. They were the leaders this morning, but Notts County are going to go top, because Notts County leading Accrington 2-1. Elsewhere it's Doncaster Rovers 0, Swindon 0. Doncaster bottom of the table, still without a win, down to 10 men. Grimsby 2, Gillingham 0. Break on for Richarlison, it will reach Trafford first, who picks the ball up. Harrogate 0, Barrow 1. Mansfield and Bradford City is goalless at Field Mill. Morecambe 1, Salford City 0. Newport County 2, Wimbledon 2, Stockport 2, Crawley 3. They've come from 2-0 down of Crawley. Sutton United 0, Forest Green 1, and Walsall are leading Colchester United by a goal to 0. Latest scores in League One and the Championship to come. But here now at the moment is Burnley coming forward, and it's with Brune Larsen, the substitute, the Dane, to Brownhill, controls it, takes a deflection, and that deflection takes it wide of the left-hand post. Corner kick.
Brune Larsen driving down that left-hand side, finding Brownhill in and around the D. Didn't get great power on the shot, but Burnley have a corner.
The Burnley supporters, who have remained, still giving their loyal backing. Roberts with the cross. Header at the far side by O'Shea, off target, goal kick. Latest scores in League One: Blackpool 1, Wigan 0. Bolton 2, Derby County 1. Derby did take the lead, but then of course down to 10 men after the sending off of Joe Wildsmith. Bristol Rovers 0, Lincoln 1. Burton 0, Exeter 1. Carlisle could be their first win of the season, leading Shrewsbury by a goal to 0. Charlton 2, Fleetwood 1. Cheltenham 0, Barnsley 1. Leyton Orient 0, Stevenage 3. Northampton 0, Wycombe 1. Oxford down to 10 men, trailing at home to Port Vale by a goal to 0. And Portsmouth will remain unbeaten as they are leading Peterborough United by 3 goals to 1. Latest scores in the Championship to come, but Burnley are attacking. Challenge on Redmond on the edge of the area, and the referee will give a free kick just outside the box. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, Hoybier went to ground too early. Redmond driving with the ball. Good opportunity this for Burnley.
Yes, it is. Before it's taken, we'll quickly go to Flo, who's got a goal at Ipswich.
Ipswich 3, Cardiff 2. Funny goal really. Shot came in, saved by the keeper, rebounded off the face of Freddie Ladapo from 2 goals down. Ipswich lead Cardiff by 3 goals to 2.
Well, to credit the Burnley supporters, you wouldn't believe listening to this, if you're on listening to 5 Live, that their team are trailing by 5 goals to 1. They now have a free kick. It's left of the centre circle, left of the D, just outside the penalty area. Brune Larsen and Redmond to take it. Spurs with that hat-trick from Son, 5-1 up. Redmond's going to walk away, and it is now going to be left to Jakob Brune Larsen, the Danish international, on loan from Hoffenheim, who's going to just try and get them another goal on the board with 9 minutes remaining. They've got 3 Burnley players in front of the wall. They've got Basuma the draft excluder role, if you like, behind a 5-man wall. Darren England says now you can take the free kick. It's Brun Larsen who hits it right into that wall, comes out towards Roberts, who chips the ball back towards Brun Larsen, left of the penalty area on this side, and then he plays the ball back to Redmond. Cross comes in, and the header from Foster is easily saved. Let's get an update from Leicester in the Championship. Pat Murphy.
It's still Leicester 0, Hull 1, and the siege is definitely on the Hull goal. A lot of time wasting going on. Vardy's on as well. The chances are coming here and there, but Leicester, they're not at the best anyway. The main hope really is their winger Fatawu, who looks like he could have this Hull defence on toast. He's on the ball now, in fact. It's Leicester 0, Hull 1 still.
Burnley pressing high, so you've heard the latest from Leicester. We heard Ipswich 3, Cardiff 2 from Flo before that. The other latest scores are Coventry 2, Watford 3, Leeds United 0, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Leicester 0, Hull 1 we just heard from Pat, Middlesbrough 0, Queen's Park Rangers 2, Plymouth 3, Blackburn Rovers 0 is the latest score at Home Park. Kulusevski in the penalty area, in towards the near post. Perisic tried to get on the end of that. Rotherham 2, Norwich 1, Stoke 0, Preston North End 2, West Brom 1, Huddersfield 1. You're up to date, Chris Sutton.
Yeah, just how good has Madison been this afternoon? Once again, dictating in that midfield area, going from left and popping the ball out to the right-hand side to Kulusevski, who's been very direct this afternoon. Kulusevski getting a cross in. I think it was Højbjerg actually making a run into the box, but Trafford gathered that for Tottenham, albeit it's about seeing it through now, of course. I mean, they're 5 up, but knowing Postecoglou, he will want more.
They might get more. Here is Kulusevski, holds off Brownhill. Brownhill, though, determined, gets a foot into the challenge and brings it away. Now finds Cork. Over the halfway line he comes. Burnley 5-1 down. Commentary from the Amex to come. Brighton against Newcastle United. 3 commentaries to look forward to tomorrow. The Old Firm from 12. As an outstretched foot from Højbjerg guides it to Vicario. Then at 2 we're at Anfield, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Manchester United at 4:30 to be dissected by Mark Chapman and the Monday Night Club at 7 on Monday night. But this has been a long second half for Burnley, and it might well be a long second half for Chelsea as they look to try and find a way back against Nottingham Forest. John Southall.
What a miss. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Nicholas Jackson with it. It was pulled across by Raheem Sterling, and there was Jackson. Must have been 3-4 yards out on his right foot, and he hit the didn't it? I think it just kissed the bar and over it went. What a miss. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
Goal at Livingston, Gavin Wallace.
It has indeed, but we've just got a VAR check to double check. In fact, no, it's been called offside. Bruce Anderson had put the ball in the back of the net, and just as he came to me, VAR said no goal. Livingston 0, St Mirren 0.
That will keep St Mirren top. Madison, lovely ball into Richarlison. Just gave it the little look, didn't he, and just slid the ball into the inside left channel. He really has adapted to this leadership role as well at Tottenham. Very vocal on the opening day at Brentford. But we knew that he had that creative presence from his time at Leicester. And while Son will get the headlines for the hat-trick, Madison has clearly been one of the so influential, the orchestrator, if you like, for Tottenham Hotspur today.
Yeah, and for a player in his position to play in a team under Postecoglou and the way Postecoglou likes to play, I mean, that's a dream, and he is flourishing.
5 minutes remaining as a referee's assistant on the far side puts his flag up. Well, Postecoglou was talking in midweek. Madison at the minute has just been told, I think, just to having a word with the referee. But Postecoglou said that when he grew up, he'd watch the football with his dad. He loved the entertainers, and Madison is certainly an entertainer. But Postecoglou named Peter Lorimer and Eddie Gray, and if you remember, as Kulusevski's going to be coming off, Eddie Gray scoring 2 wonderful goals against Burnley, actually the opposition in 1970, a chip from long range at the Cop end at Ellen Road, and then a mazy run at the other end as Kulusevski comes off and Skip comes on, and Madison is going to get a standing ovation from them travelling supporters, because he is, by today's standards, an entertainer, and he certainly entertained those Spurs supporters.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful goal. Just an all-round brilliant display from James Madison. High-fiving, little hug with his manager. Job done.
So Emerson is on, Skip is on, and it's Madison and Kulusevski who've gone off. Well, we go now on BBC Radio 5 Live, and it's Brentford, Chris Coles.
Andoni Iraola is 2 minutes plus stoppage time away from his first Premier League win as Bournemouth manager. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 2. Brentford, as you imagine, throwing everything forward now, but Neto in the Bournemouth goal, relatively untroubled. Brentford 1, Bournemouth 2, 2 minutes to play.
Elsewhere in the Premier League, remember it finished 2-2 between Sheffield United and Everton. Forest still lead Chelsea by a goal to nil. Manchester City 4, Fulham 1. And obviously Bournemouth there, have just been hearing from Chris, 2-1 up, which would be a first win for Andoni Iraola. The results and the reaction to come. Let's get an update indeed from Stamford Bridge with John.
Chelsea are pushing for this equaliser. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1. This time Thiago Silva on the right of the 6-yard box, saved by Matt Turner to his left-hand side. Chelsea 0, Forest 1.
This is the first season without European competition since 2009-2010. And that season under Harry Redknapp, Spurs finished 4th. They'll have no European distractions with Ange Postecoglou. A return to the Champions League, a top 4 finish could easily be within their grasp.
No Europe, of course, is a massive help. It is. I thought we'd see performances like this under Postecoglou in a couple of months. I mean, it's pretty amazing what he's done in a short space of time, but should I say, let's not get too carried away. It is Burnley, a promoted team, a lot of changes over the summer.
Basuma gets away from a challenge, runs forward, Spurs lead 5-1. That was surely a penalty. Was that a foul on Højbjerg from Roberts? Referee says no. Why would Højbjerg go to ground? He's gone to ground inside the penalty area, inside right channel.
And he would have had a one-on-one, wouldn't he, from 10-12 yards out. They must be checking this. Højbjerg's done about 8 or 9 VAR signs to the referee. Maybe he just feels sorry for Burnley, but that looked to be a clip on Højbjerg.
The referee, of course, VAR will be having a look to see if it is a clear and obvious error. They will set that high bar, but as this game peters out, I'm sure that John Brooks, the VAR back at Stockley Park, is having a look at it. We're yet to have any chance to see it again here at Turf Moor, but 90 seconds remain. There will be a lot of added on time with the goal celebrations and the substitutions that have been made here at Turf Moor as Emerson goes in for a firm challenge on Cullen, and it gets a free kick to Burnley in the centre circle. And now we will see if there will be a VAR check that there's been a stoppage in play. Oh no, the free kick's been taken cully already.
Stopped it again. Carry on regardless by the look of things. It's one of those Emerson Royal and is it Cullen or Cork? The ball's there to win. Both players make an attempt to win it. Royal goes to ground, does win the ball, but it's the follow through. Here we are. There we are. Højbjerg going down. Does look like he was clipped, but there you go.
VAR check complete. Coventry 3, Watford 3, a latest score in the Championship and a late equaliser for Coventry at home there. 5-1 Spurs lead.
Why dive, as you said, in that situation? He would have been able to basically walk the ball in.
He would. As Højbjerg, who could easily have left the club in the transfer window, but remains. Of course, after the international break, it's when the Premier League clubs have to name their 25-man squads to take us through to the next window. Spurs, I think, would have had a sense of frustration that they would have wanted others to have left during the window before it closed last night. 6 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. Burnley 1, Tottenham Hotspur 5 on BBC Radio 5 Live. Foster into Cork. Cork holds the ball up, chips, swivels, turns, heads it away. Udogie helped further away by Skip. Richarlison, he was being fouled a little bit by Delcroix. He'll be shown a yellow card.
Used his body well there. Richarlison rolled Delcroix. Delcroix takes a fair chunk of his shirt there.
But still there is that hunger and desire from Tottenham for more.
Relentless. The catchphrase at Celtic for Postecoglou, Celtic, was "we never stop," and Spurs have not stopped this afternoon.
First time since May 2022 that Tottenham Hotspur would have won 3 consecutive games in the same season. There's been a goal at Brentford. Chris Coles.
A stoppage time equaliser for Brentford. You have to say they deserve it. Brian and Mbeumo, who missed a wonderful chance just after half-time, takes this one really well, through on goal, under Neto, and it's Brentford 2, Bournemouth 2.
Manchester City still lead Fulham 4-1. Chelsea, though, still behind at home to Nottingham Forest by 1-0 as Emerson tries to turn.
Got away with that, didn't he?
He did get away with that. He went to ground far too easily under the challenge of Brune Larsen. Free kick instead for Tottenham.
Yeah, in that inverted role, Emerson Royal, that right back, not comfortable there. Looked like he's going to have the ball pinched off him, and went down to the floor. Won the free kick on the referee there.
If you had to name a man of the match, you could go. Would you go Son? Would you go Madison? Would you go Kulusevski? Who would take your pick?
Well, strangely enough, I'd go with the guy who scored the hat-trick. Son. Madison, though, I take your point. I don't know what you're talking about with Kulusevski. I don't think he's got an assist, has he? Why would we include him?
I don't know. I was giving you an alternative.
Vicario for his celebration when he made that save.
Goal at Oxford, Aaron Paul.
10-man Oxford equalise. Oxford 1, Port Vale 1. Stanley Mills with the cross on the right-hand side. It evaded everybody, giving Greg Lee the time to fire home on the half volley. Oxford 1, Port Vale 1.
Romero for his defending. Normally when you try and make a selection, you get multiple choice. It's normally about 3. Crossfield ball by Cork, blocked by Højbjerg. Porro, free kick awarded in favour of Tottenham into Burnley, just outside the centre circle. And we have 3 minutes remaining. Tottenham supporters aren't going anywhere, but they're making all the racket at that cricket field end of the ground away towards our right hand side. The Burnley half of that stand is half empty as Emerson back to Vicario, and then he clears the ball away. But the new signings have settled in well for Tottenham.
Yep, they have. I reckon Ange Postecoglou maybe would have wanted more signings than he got, but I think the whole Tottenham team has started well.
Ball threaded through. Brownhill gets a consolation despite the last lunge from Van der Ven. Brownhill left-footed guides the ball in, but that's all it is. It's a consolation, and it doesn't disguise the fact that Tottenham Hotspur have been convincing winners here at Turf Moor today. But it's Burnley 2, Tottenham 5.
Yep, good little give and go from Brownhill, left-hand side of the box, and then left-footed into the far corner. Van der Ven making a challenge, trying to block the shot. It's really well worked on the left-hand side. Brownhill takes a right-footed touch just near the corner of the 6-yard box. Clever little pass. I think it was Cork outside of the right foot, and then fires the ball into the far corner. 5-2.
So 5-2 here, 2-2 at Brentford against Bournemouth. Chelsea 0, Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 4, Fulham 1. You'll see the goals on Match of the Day, 10:30 tonight, BBC 1. Goal at Crewe, Nestor McGregor.
Yes, it's Crewe Alexandra 3, MK Dons 1. Never have I seen a game shift like this with momentum. It was all the away side in the first half, but Crewe have been outstanding in the second 45. Substitute Aaron Rowe with the assist. He crossed the ball and waiting for it was Chris Long, who had the easiest of jobs, and he passed it into the corner of the net. The keeper didn't even move. Crewe 3, MK Dons 1.
Perisic on the left-hand side. Looked like there was going to be half an opening there for Tottenham, just as they keep the ball in play on that far side. Stockport 3, Crawley 3. So Stockport have got an equaliser after leading that game 2-0. Wigan, Blackpool 1, Wigan 1 is the latest score. Leicester, Pat Murphy.
Leicester 0, Hull 1. The Leicester players surrounding the referee, John Busby. I'm sure they want to know why only 3 minutes were added on, which added to their sense of frustration. They should have equalised in the second half. Fatau did make a difference coming on as the winger after 54 minutes, but the only goal from Delap, fine effort by him, 20 yards, left foot deflected in the first half. Leicester 0, far from their best. Hull 1.
We're inside the last 30 seconds of stoppage time. 5-2 to Tottenham Hotspur. Here is Højbjerg, Skip and Richarlison through the middle. Looks to find Richarlison off the chest. Richarlison looking to finish it, just couldn't take it past O'Shea. Looks for handball. The referee down England had a good view of it and says no. Full time at Brentford, Chris Coles.
Great entertainment. Brentford 2, Bournemouth 2. Brentford in front, Matthias Jensen's free kick. Dominic Solanke levelled it. Brentford hit the post 3 times before David Brooks tapped in Marcus Tavernier's cross for Bournemouth. But Brian Mbeumo equalising in stoppage time for Brentford, who remain unbeaten. Bournemouth's search for their first Premier League win under Andoni Iraola continues. Brentford 2, Bournemouth 2.
Carlisle are going to get their first win of the season. They've wrapped it up through Joe Garner. Carlisle 2, Shrewsbury 0 is the latest score in League One. Other latest scores: Cheltenham 0, Barnsley 2, and Notts County 3, Accrington 1. 5 Live Sports Report coming up with Mark Chapman. The results, as much live reaction before we get our next commentary from the Amex. Brighton against Newcastle United. Penalty at Oxford, Aaron Paul.
98th minute, it's a penalty to Port Vale. Greg Lee sent off for a second bookable offence for the home side after equalising for them. The referee just making sure everyone is outside the box. Here comes Alfie Devine on loan from Tottenham, who got right-footed, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. Port Vale have won it. Oxford 1, Port Vale 2.
Full-time whistle here at Turf Moor, and Tottenham Hotspur have run out convincing winners by 5-2. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, brilliant performance from Tottenham. Ange Ball flourishing once again. Went behind against Burnley, but then once they got the equaliser, they just went from strength to strength. Massive game for Son, I think, that hat-trick. He looked back to his best as a central striker. James Madison really ran the show, but if you're a Tottenham fan, long drive back you've got this evening, but you'll be driving back a happy fan.
The goals for Burnley are mere bookends from Foster and Brownhill, because Tottenham Hotspur in between with a hat-trick from Son, Romero and Madison running out 5-2 winners here at Turf Moor, and they're second in the Premier League. Mark.
Looks like Huddersfield are going to get their first win of the season. Jack Radoni.